Hey guys, it's Robert Gardner here with Kathleen Benanti. Did I pronounce that correctly, by the way?
Sure did.
Benanti?
Phonetically correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we want to introduce the audience to you because we haven't done a podcast before, right?
We have not.
Okay.
We've known each
Can you
other for a
tell
while.
them where they can find you, like your website and then like whatever social media?
Sure. My website is istsportstherapies.com. That stands for Integrated Sports Therapies, and I also own Integrated Therapies Institute. They're collectively under one website. You can find me on social media on Facebook under my name, Kathleen Benanti, and also Integrated Sports Therapies. And if you want to hear me in conversation, you can find me on Reddit under Myoskeletal Muser. That's where I spend most of my time talking.
That gives me a lot of insight about your personality. If you're on Reddit all the time, I'm like, I'm an avid Redditor. I see lots of stuff there.
Yeah. That's kind of my home. And to me, it's where I find the better conversations.
Yeah. It's a different format than Facebook.
It's a very different vibe.
Yeah.
It's a very different vibe.
So we didn't script a whole lot, and I wanted to be clear when I had a conversation with you that my hope is these will become like a series, and we do like one a month or whatever, and go into different topics. Like there's so much to discuss, and when I started the podcast years ago, people were trying to get me to do like 30-minute podcasts, and I'm like, a 30-minute podcast is hello, I'm Kathleen, and that's it. Like there's no. Like, why don't we just do 3 hours? And they're like, people won't listen to a 3-hour podcast. And I'm like, the fans who are interested will. Like, the first hour is just getting through the small talk to get to the nitty gritty. Like, I would almost want to fast forward through the first hour just to get to the second, third hour to hear what's really going on. So, is there anything pressing that you wanted to discuss?
Oh, gosh, is there anything pressing? Well, let's see. I don't know about pressing, but I am hosting yet again James Waslowski this weekend for Elite Massage Therapy. Jim is one of my original mentors, and actually he filmed his last few rounds of educational material at my facility. So if you see those beautiful yellow backgrounds, that's me.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have him in-house. And then we've got Thai Massage Jam, surprise, coming. I believe second week of August. I am super excited. We're going to host that monthly now, it looks like, and that is going to be so much fun. Let's see. Precision Neuromuscular Therapy is coming from the Midwest to visit Dallas in October. And I'm also teaching Dalton Myoskeletal neck, back, and sports injuries, October 3rd through 5th, also at my facility. So it's going to be a busy end of year since we just wrapped Eric's celebration of life in Oklahoma City 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So pressing.
Well, whatever comes to mind.
Pressing for me all day long is I want to discuss pain and pressure with therapists.
Oh no,
that's my pressing subject.
Oh God, what did I say?
Pressing.
Like, nothing gives me more joy as a professional, 23 years in the industry, than watching a flame war erupt about what deep tissue is. Like nothing just warms my cold, dead heart more than that. Like it's like the Grinch; it just grew 3 times too big. Like I'm like deep tissue. This is the debate in the massage industry, the thing that must be discussed. It's like
the latest, greatest debate. Honestly, this is I don't know the terminology deep tissue aside, because I'm not sure that any of us really know how to define that. Like, where is what is the level of deep?
Yeah.
Right. So without a really appropriate definition, we just use it as a catch-all phrase for getting in there. And
yeah.
Again, I'm not really quite sure what that means, because the nerves that we're after are all superficial.
Yeah.
Outside of, obviously joint mechanoreceptors, but that's a whole different subject. But this is something that I discuss immediately in class. when I teach, and the first thing I do is discuss pain and pressure, and I walk around and I touch each student before they ever lay hands on one another. And I say, this is how much of pressure I apply in session in my own private practice.
Yeah.
And the eyeballs are crazy. Like, how in the world can that be effective? Well, 25 years later, clearly it's effective. So, we're just torturing them and working ourselves harder. That's my point.
Yeah.
But
I teach, but then I have like colleagues who are teaching my curriculum.
yes.
And then I'm nurturing them through the educational process.
Thank goodness.
And I have to give them like little teacher trainee tips. And if they're coming in and applying pressure, I'll have them come in and say, hey, listen, put your hand on top of their hand and like lean into the degree of pressure you typically would, and then communicate verbally with the receiver. Oh, you can see Tier here in the background. He likes to come in and hang out. So it does two things. One, it makes the student feel listened to and connected with because they're being touched.
I like that.
And then two, they're getting a sense of like the depth of pressure. 9 times out of 10, what I notice is the students are afraid to apply pressure.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. With the modality that I teach, I find that overpressure is the student's go-to. Very interesting difference, huh?
Are they using like forearms and elbows, or like how do they?
Oh, it's the white knuckled, shaky finger. Yeah. And when the fingernails start turning white, I mean, that's my first go-to to back the hell off of that. And probably should have done it about 40 pounds of pressure ago.
Yeah.
But, fingertips, elbows, the whole shebang. I
have to ask questions because it's like I haven't taken your specific course or like a class with Dalton previously. Are you guys are you using bear skin and like oil?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Oh, very little oil, very little. It's one tiny benefit as far as the cost savings go. I actually talk about it in class when I'm introducing Matt, that I go through about 32 ounces a year. I buy one bottle.
Yeah.
I use 5 or 6 drops a session, and usually the oil between our body oil and the client's body oil is enough to get a good tissue grab, and that's all we're after anyway. A lot of Matt is working with the joints, and so we don't really need any lube for that at all.
Yeah, I
fully clothed. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I try to explain what I'm doing, and I think maybe some of the pressure is related to the fact that the receivers have clothes on, which is atypical for most massage therapists, and then they're a little confused. I can just call it compression, but they're just like, this is weird. Like, they're used to sliding, and I'm like, no. Why don't you just get a grip? And then once you've got a grip, why don't we is it towards the elbow or is it towards and they're like, no, it's towards the elbow. And I'm like, cool. Now what about towards the ulna? And they're like, right there. But then the challenge is, you talked about the white knuckling. I'm always trying to look at the student and help them figure out how to ease their body strain. I'm trying to position them in a way that it feels effortless to deliver the pressure.
Yes, I do the same thing. Blame is a dirty word. There's just something missing in massage education, that there are great discussions about body mechanics, and then that's it. Like, mind your body mechanics and now go work. But what does that really mean? They know what it means. They don't really understand what that means. And so,
this is why this is going to be a series of podcasts. Well, I had this thing where there was a point when I started teaching CE classes where I began to get frustrated at massage schools, because I realized I was trying to elevate the therapist, but there was this sort of baggage they were getting from massage school. And I started to be, these massage schools, and I'm like, wait. Massage schools only have 500 hours.
That's it.
They got to take somebody from the very beginning to being able to work at Massage Envy or whatever big box chain. And they've got to know anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, all this stuff. And I make money teaching the things that the school didn't. So it's like, I don't think my outcomes would be any better in 500 hours.
I agree. And that's why I wanted to be very clear in saying that I don't like the word blame. There's a black hole there that it just isn't filled by anybody. So there's nobody to point a finger at, right? And I mean, let's face it, massage educators as a whole, especially massage schools, aren't making the big bucks. So I don't know. I don't want to put any more weight on them than they already bear. As you said, trying to get students to just learn the very basics of how to perform massage and anatomy and physiology, which should, takes up a pretty big chunk as is. I don't know.
I think about this all the time, and I'm in continuing education. I chose my prison. And my prison, it's like, what was that film? They did a remake of the film, but they're French, but they're on this like tropical island where they've been put in prison from France, and they can't escape, and they're lucky if they get like an extra coconut for their rations or whatever. I feel like that. The whole film is like him plotting his eventual like escape, like it's Alcatraz, Like I chose my prison, and my prison was CE provider. Like, it was outside of mainstream massage education. I'd have students in a class and they go, "When are you going to open a school?" And I'm like, "No."
I got the same.
And
yeah.
They're like, "But why?" And I'm like, "Guys, one, a school is a brick and mortar business. Two, a school is producing therapists to pass the MBLEX to get a license. I can do that, but you have to understand what would happen is if you gave me access to students for 500 hours, I would turn out some of the best body workers Texas has seen who would be completely unemployable." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Guys, if you let me come in and say, just make sure they pass the MBLEX and they know the anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, it's fine. We'll still teach them Swedish. It's fine. Once I start working and go, cool, here's the table stuff, here's the mat stuff, here's how we solve specific problems and clients," that is going to ruffle feathers so deeply that those people will get fired. They will not be accepted as massage therapists, and I'm one of the only educators that I know of in the industry who is consistently told that what they teach is not massage.
Well, admittedly, those of us who do clinical work, whether it's a Thai or mat or, fill in the blank, we just have to take a lot of extra precautions to make sure that we're staying within our scope of practice, because we ride a pretty fine line sometimes. The struggles, I like my profession. I love being a massage therapist, but I never use that term. I've never used that term regarding my work. I only call myself a manual therapist. I never use the term massage.
In classes, when I have a lawyer, I have these conversations. I ask therapists, "Can you call yourself a manual therapist?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't think that and I go, "Yeah, you can." And they're like, "No, I'm not sure." And I'm like, "I am."
I'll tell you why I do it. There's really one reason. It's because the work that I do has never been what the general public would consider massage.
Yes.
And that's the only reason, is that I want some clarity. So when they're seeking clinical work and they see manual therapy, they understand even innately that that's different than massage. But also, let me be really clear about this. So me being neurodivergent, being, full tilt ADHD, what saves my ass is relaxation massage. Touch is therapeutic. All of it is. I firmly believe in that. And it just depends on what the individual is coming to the plate with. I can fix all of my little quirks and nibbles myself, or I've got colleagues at my clinic that can help me. But what I desperately need is relaxation massage to make me human again. So I just want to throw that out there for full clarity that is, it has my full respect. But I just don't do that. And so that's the reason why I use the term manual therapy. For me, I couldn't work to perform relaxation massage, and I don't have the makeup for it. I like to move big body parts, and I like to move it and work it. That's my personality, and that's who I am. So, I only do it so the public can understand the type of work that I do.
Yeah. I feel at odds with the bulk of my industry and even the students in class. I try not to get into any fist fights with them, but the conceptual parameters I'm dealing with when I go, hey guys, could you run an ad on Facebook and say that you offer carpal tunnel relief? And they're like, no, that's not, no, we can only do massage. And I'm like, it is massage.
Sure.
You're just providing carpal tunnel relief. And they're like, no, it's like you're diagnosing and treating conditions. And I'm like, no, the clients are self-diagnosing carpal tunnel.
Or they could have been diagnosed by somebody else, a medical professional legally, and that would be perfectly fine to provide, as you said, relief, not treat carpal tunnel.
I never said diagnose.
Right.
I never said treat. And it's like, I should have been a lawyer. I read state law at one point related to some of this. And I'm like, I think the difference is what they're taught the law says, as opposed to actually reading the law and trying to interpret it.
It doesn't. I'm in a kind of a unique position that I actually still see my first client. I have people on my roster that I just press the button and they get booked for another 5 years of their regularly scheduled visits. So a lot of my people have become friends and family to me over time. I'm starting to see third generation clients now. I've seen them and their kids have grown up on my treatment room floor, and now the kids are getting married and bringing their kids with them. It's a crazy experience, and I actually had a point to that. What were we talking about?
Can you diagnose and treat, essentially?
Oh, right. And so, yes, my point is that regardless of how long I've seen somebody, I just a few days ago interpreted it into people terms, one of my clients' shoulder MRIs. And I always qualify it with, hey, this is not a diagnosis. Hey, these are just my thoughts. Let's be clear. I am not a medical professional in that sense. And they're kind of sick of hearing it, but it is still going to be said, period. I'm not going to cross that line.
Yeah,
it's unethical.
To push the edges for the therapists in class, I go, listen, why don't you call yourself a soft tissue pain management specialist? And they're
sure.
Like, no.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
Like, no, that, yeah. And I'm like, I have a lawyer, trust me.
I see nothing wrong with that.
And it's like, the real deal for me is like, I never try to force the students to do exactly what I do. I'm trying to add diversity into the massage and bodywork marketplace. And that diversity doesn't exist. All the public knows is Swedish and deep tissue.
Yes, you're right. You really, really are right. I have actually been amazed over the years, and it still kind of surprises me how many of my clients over time found me because they followed Eric Dalton for years as a client, just using his home re-education, home retraining. When he passed in January, the cards and flowers that I got from clients, it was it was nuts. And it was because a lot of them followed him before they ever found me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just using that as one example. Besides, there are some modalities that are finding their way more into the common vernacular of our average client now. They're seeking out things like NKT they've heard about, or MAD, or NMR, or whatever it is, fill in the blank. But
my favorite is stretch therapy. And I see a stretch therapy ad, and it's like, you got low back pain, you got this, you got that. And I'm like, hey guys, is it legal for them? And they're like, oh, but I'm like, it looks like stretch therapy helps with these specific conditions right here. Look at this. Isn't this interesting? And they're like, shut up. Leave us alone. We do massage.
You know, I mean, okay. You know this about me, but let me just preface all of this to anybody else by saying that I come from an academic background, and most of it is in research science to one degree or another. So I kind of cut my chops on asking really hard questions, asking the whys, as opposed to just believing what somebody says because they say it works.
Yeah.
So when I teach, I like to do a few breakout sessions on things like shoe wear. And my question is always, why? Why? Can somebody tell me why we need to wear supportive shoes? This is just one thing I do in class. But there are a lot of whys, and I just want to sit back and listen. Maybe somebody has learned something. Maybe somebody knows something that I don't know. So, but I still am casting a really broad net because I want everybody to think about why? Why are we doing any of this? Why are we believing anything? And I mean, I think that that's a big question. There's a lot of research out there that can tell us why.
Yeah, the challenge is in our industry specifically, if you're mainly teaching massage therapists, the thing that I see is the students don't take kindly to asking questions. They want to be told what the truth is. They don't want someone introducing more questions. This is murky and weird. We don't understand what's going on here. And I'm like, I'm questioning the entire foundational underpinnings of your industry. And they're like, yeah, you're not allowed. And I'm like, no, I'm absolutely allowed to do that.
Well, you know, yes, I agree with you. And I'm going to layer this on top of that I think generally people are challenged by asking big questions. And I had to learn how to be able to pause and look and actually ask those big questions. It's not something I don't really think that one can just wake up one day and say, today I'm going to be the question asker. If you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know what you might find that is missing, you just don't know what to ask. And so I feel like I don't feel like I do. I do. I intentionally force feed these challenges within the first hour of my workshops of why. And then I stay silent. And I kind of ask them to chew on these questions on their own for a second before I'll try and ask for some feedback. I just don't think people have ever really been challenged to ask why.
Yeah, I just, like, I was a philosophy student, so Socratic ignorance was like a core, like, thing. And then I realized that Western education, as it has developed in, the century, is not structured. I'm like, Robert, if we go back in time, they put that guy to death. Like, that's what happens when you're subverting the youth and corrupting the youth, because you're getting them to ask questions and realize it makes people really uncomfortable when they realize they don't have answers.
That really is it. And that's the layer that I tried to get through, not just with my students, but honestly with everybody in my life. Pick a subject. I'm going to be the question asker. And, it can be a little sandpapery. I understand that. But really, it's the only way to grow as a profession and a professional.
If I discuss like gait, so there's standing, walking, and running, and you talk about feet and feet support, and I go, guys, have y'all looked into barefoot running and like minimalist footwear? Have you? And they're like, what? And I'm like, something as simple. Let's remove standing, let's remove walking, but running. Should people run and have their heel hit, or should they hit on the ball pad of their foot? And they're like, well, and it's like, guys, if you go dig and you start researching barefoot running, you get to this point where there are people who are debating something as simple as how people should run.
Oh, sure. And so here is a subject that's interesting to me. Part of my educational background is in anthropology, and I use my academic education every single day in session, every single day, and when I'm taking CEs of my own. Pardon me. And so my question is, why can the Tarahumara of Mexico do it? Why? If there are people on the planet who can functionally do things without pain and their bodies remain fine, then should we be looking closer at them and looking more at ourselves as having the problem? Born to Run is an amazing book, the Tarahumara of Mexico, a running tribe, right? And they are amazing. These folks, I am not joking, they party all night long. They big drinking drugs, sex parties all night long, and then the whole tribe wakes up in the morning and slaps a piece of leather on their foot, and they all go run 150 miles. No real recorded back pain, no real musculoskeletal issues. So if I have the same body as they have, where's the disconnect? I don't know. To me, it's a big bill of goods, and and honestly, I work mostly on elite endurance athletes. I mean, that's my specialty. That's my gig. And I remember several years ago when the barefoot running, or, zero drop shoe fad came in. Well, everybody got into them. Super. They went from their big fluffy shoes to nothing. And then everybody got injured. And who was to blame? The shoe. So that craze was in and out pretty quickly. Who in the world coached these people to take about 2 years to reach that zero drop? I would never tell you, great, you are bench pressing 80 pounds right now. So to be more effective, tomorrow you need to put 200 pounds on that bar. You'll be fine. You don't need any work in time. The underfoot is just a series of muscles also that we have to ask to perform little increments until it gets stronger. I've worked on my feet since my paper route when I was 11, and I'm 58. And as soon as I buy a pair of absolutely completely flat zero drop shoes, I go in and I pull that shoe insert out and I throw it in the trash before I even put my feet in. I just stand on a thin little sole all day. That's it. No pain, no back pain, no neck pain. I have one badass strong foot though. You should see it. It's meaty.
Yeah, if
it works.
Oh, so I try to say this, and I the easiest way I can say it, and I don't know all of the history of how massage became massage, is particularly in the United States. And then we've got 50 states with 50 different sets of laws regulating massage. But I'm like, massage culture, where does that come from? And the students are like, what? And I'm like, massage has a culture in the United States. Where does it come from? And they're like, Well, I'm like, Northern Europe, that's where it comes from. Northern Europe. My tradition came from Southeast Asia. That's what the problem is. You're failing to adapt when I come in and I do something as simple as I come in and I go, well, listen, instead of having a table, why don't we work on a mat? And they're like, no, you're like changing everything. This is fucking weird. And I'm like, cool. Has anybody demonstrated that it's biomechanically superior to work on a table? And they're like, yeah, but everybody works on a table. And I'm like, cool. So everybody does it that way. So that's the best way to do it. And they're like, no, but this. I'm like, please, here we go. Please bring it. And they're like, but this isn't massage. And I'm like, great. Then we don't need licenses in all 50 states. Let's go. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yes. It's not massage. It's on a mat. I mean, it's not even on a table, right? Nobody gets naked. So it's not massage, right? And if there's no massage, cool. My market share of 300,000 massage therapists just became 27 million people in the U.S. I like that market better.
I mean, I guess really the definition of the situation really does depend on the laws.
Ooh, and
No,
I have a lawyer.
What I'm saying is what we can legally versus illegally do obviously is going to be spelled out in legislation, whether it be state or local. But there is, I don't want to say gray area, but I do know that my work for 25 years now has been on that fine edge of staying within my bounds legally, but still kind of pushing that limit a little bit. It's challenging. But I agree. And I don't really know what the answer is to that.
I don't diagnose or treat conditions.
Either.
And then I'm trying to think, like, legally, what do I like get up against in Texas specifically? Because I know Texas law. Other states are a little different.
Right.
Like, the only thing is the diagnose and treat. Like, if I talk to students, I go, cool, concessions be 3 hours. Well, it's not encoded in law, to my knowledge. Can the person just wear clothes? And it's like, well, there's all these things about drape, but it's like my clients don't undrape. They don't even take clothes off. So it's like, this is... You start to push up. This is why I had to read the law and eventually get a lawyer. And when I make big moves, I call my lawyer and go, hey, I want to do this thing. And he's like, okay, you can't do that. That's illegal, but you could do this. And I'm like, oh, God. It's like you change the parameters. Never am I told what I do is ineffective. What I'm told is, one, as a facility, we're not going to support what you're doing. And two, this isn't massage. And I go, cool. Well, if it's not massage, then we don't need licenses in all 50 states. That sounds like freedom because I can teach from 4 camera angles globally for free.
Well, that's true. I think maybe because I went right into private practice out of school. I had a lease on my place 3 months before I graduated. I knew exactly the specialty I wanted, and I knew the clientele I wanted to see. And I just went straight for that. And so maybe I hadn't realized that I was going against the norm a little bit, because when I do my assessment, when I have that initial conversation with somebody, and then I plot my course and I do what needs to get done, and they don't have any input in their session. There won't be can you also rub this, or a few minutes here or that ouchy spot. I have a plan. I work what I need to work. The rest of it doesn't get touched. It gets looked at, but it doesn't really get, touched so much. And I plot my course and go for it. And I hadn't realized that when I started talking with other therapists that is, you mean they don't guide you through the session? And I'm like, but they don't know what they're looking for. Why would I ever let, the animals be in charge of the zoo? they hurt in areas, but they don't even know what that means. They don't understand the associations. They don't know where else in the body to look for what perhaps has instigated this pain. So why would I ever let them have input was my rationale when I got into this business. And then I found out on the back end that that's a weird thing to do. And it's still what I do.
The level 1 class I teach now, when I jettisoned Thai massage, and Next Level Pain Relief is the new brand name.
I love it.
The level 1 curriculum, I made it condition specific. Upper back and neck pain, lower back and hips. It's the two biggest issues therapists see. I'm like, listen, here's a 5 to 6 step sequence. Not going to go greatly into pain science and detail of why. But like,
Sure.
if you do this sequence for upper back and neck pain, I think that 80% of your clients, 80% of the time, are going to respond with massive amounts of relief. When I teach those sequences in the class and we get done, I go, guys, have you ever seen a sequence that looks, and they're like, no, this, I don't understand. This doesn't look anything like I've never, and I'm like, how do you feel? And they're like, oh, it's amazing. Like, I barely even use my hands. Like, it's amazing. My back feels great. And it's like, the effectiveness was the driver, but I kept looking at the overall service, whatever massage is. Sure. And it was like places I worked, because in Louisiana, you couldn't, at that time at least, it was really difficult to get a job with a chiropractor. Louisiana was the last state in the union to make chiropractic legal. There is no chiropractic school in Louisiana, period. So you had to work in a spa, so I had to kind of sneak bits of stuff in because the person is coming in for a massage at the spa. Sure. And then I had to slowly outperform and kind of bring the clients along with me. And that worked well enough because I was tenacious. But it did get to a point where I'm like, why can't I just work on a mat? And it's like, Robert, our clients aren't asking for work on a mat. Like, you can't just, and I'm like, when I got to Texas and made my own practice eventually, I never offered table work. It wasn't on the menu of services. It wasn't on the videos. It wasn't on the photos. It was like, it was called Thai massage at that time. And you got a trickle of people who were looking for that distinct service, whatever they thought it was.
Right.
But basically, I became a pariah in the local massage community. And when I say this is not people celebrating. They're not having a parade and throwing doubloons and talking about how great I am. They're like, this guy's a problem. He needs to go.
Oh, well, there are a lot of big personalities in our field. Period. Didn't I sum that up neatly?
I'm like, personality is not the word I would use, but okay.
Hey, I've never been great at be a stay in your lane kind of person. I do kind of like to push some boundaries. I do like to trial and error things. I like to ask big questions. And I do know that it makes people uncomfortable. And maybe the bigger the questions, the harder the questions. Yeah. There's no, I'm not going to say that.
Good. See, it's being recorded.
Oh, I'm not going to say what I was about to say. That is for a private conversation. When you reach the level that we're on in our field in the United States, sometimes we have to weave our way through interesting personalities so we don't offend and yet still make ourselves easy to work with.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to be that person where I am easy to work with because I have such just deep respect for my my colleagues, and God, even more so for my students. I want them to learn. I want them to learn like they're my own children. And honestly, that's all I care about. Maybe, which is why I stand sometimes outside of the rest of my colleagues. I feel like looking in a little bit because I really only ever think about my students. And if you studied with me, I mean, I make that pretty clear.
Yeah.
If I can get somebody into a mentorship program or I can just steal their brain for a few hours, I mean, that's the biggest dopamine hit ever for me. And it's like, I'm not just helping to influence or change that therapist's life, but every single person that they see. That trickle down effect is huge for us. When we can level up even one therapist, we affect everyone that they see and all of their family members. It's a massive ripple effect. And I mean, I'm honored to be part of that. I don't care. I don't have any ego in this game. That's not my monkey, not my circus.
There's a thing where I sense, like, I'll still get people, they'll write me, therapists in particular, potential students, and they're like, do you teach table? And I'm like, guys, I've been in this industry for 23 years, and I'm still teaching the goddamn table because you haven't understood my teaching. Like, I never removed the table. The new curriculum is table and mat. The level 2 will be table and mat. The level 3, level 4, level 5 will be table and mat because you can't get rid of your training wheels. And they're like, what? And I'm like, the table is completely transforming your session and controlling the body mechanics. And they're like, no, you're not allowed. And I'm like, yes, I'm allowed. You just don't have to like it. Listen, aquatic therapies exist.
Yeah, they do.
Where are the aquatic therapies? They call it Watsu. It's a trademark name, and there's aquatic therapies, and like that's a completely legitimate way of working that I don't currently have. So why is there no facility that focuses on it? Because a table to a mat to aquatic therapies, we all understand that the aquatic work has certain functionality that the other platforms don't. I'm not fighting those other platforms. We just haven't done the aquatic therapies for next level pain relief yet. And they're like, what? It's like the students would literally get mad. It's like, as soon as we think we understand what you're teaching, you keep changing it. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding the conceptual continuity.
I personally, I really only want to study under instructors who keep changing. Because that tells me that they are growing.
Angry. Bitter.
There's some of that. There's some of everything. There really is just some of everything like we would find anywhere else in life. I find for me that it's fun to weave through everybody's different personalities and see how different instructors go about things. And operating an institute, it's fascinating to watch individual instructors because there's not a one that has a setup the same way or that teaches the same way. Not at all. And most of them come with their own tech shit like it's their babies, that they will only use that 18-year-old projector because it's their favorite and they know exactly how it works. And like, it's fascinating. I've learned a lot. All of that, including a little bit of cult of personality, has really helped me to grow.
So I'll ask a quick question. Do you know who Jiddu Krishnamurti is?
I do. Yes. Think on These Things is my favorite little book of Krishnamurti's that I still browse through now and then.
I was a philosophy student, and a friend at a party in college was like, man, you remind me of like Jiddu Krishnamurti. And I was like, who's that? And he's like, he's this like, I don't know, like yoga philosophy, something or other. Like, and I was like, I went and looked it up and found a book or two and I read it and I was like, God damn, like, dude, conceptual continuity. I was like, man, this guy is like, it only feels like he only ever taught one thing, but he kept addressing it from new angles in different books. And it's like, Freedom from the known.
Think on these things is one of the bigger pains in the asses to me, because it's forced me, that book has forced me to consider angles that I never looked at before. It's not exactly easy. He's not exactly easy reading, especially for a Westerner.
No.
Damn, that's one of, I still have that. I will still open that book.
He uses language against itself.
Yeah.
Like he's like breaking down structures, and for anybody interested, is like I can't even tell you what book to read because they're all generally going the same way. But he's got this quote, and he says, "It is of no virtue to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." And I was just like, man, this is my guy. Like this, like there's something about this specifically. And the other thing is, he's kind of looked at as some sort of weird cult leader, but he's like a cult leader who told you not to follow cult leaders. And I feel like that in the massage industry is what I'm trying to do. And there's this weird, and it's like, Robert, there's a reason Jiddu Krishnamurti was not on Oprah. There is a reason that Jiddu Krishnamurti doesn't have temples and buildings and is a very small, subset of people. It's like this was never packaged in a way to be commercially viable. This wasn't like the cult of personality. It wasn't focused on Jiddu Krishnamurti, focused on the cult leader. But in the massage industry, not only do they not want you to question, they want the teacher to just deliver the truth, and they all follow along. I won't mention any names, and it makes me like exceedingly uncomfortable because I have told Kristen's one of my closest like colleagues that I work with, and I've literally had a conversation with Kristen where I go, listen, in your entire life, I never want you to give up your autonomy, but when it comes to the work and the business, I want you to do exactly what I tell you. Don't give up your autonomy. Think for yourself. But when it comes to the business, when it comes to the body work, it will move much faster if you'll just do what I tell you. I have to limit that because I'm not in a position of being able to... Like I had a guy ask me one time when I was going to start teaching the students about spirituality.
Oh.
And I went, bro, I can't teach them how to work on a shoulder. And you want me to get a hold of their spirit?
Look, I am firmly of the do what you want mindset. Just do what you want because I'm only responsible for my ethics and my morals.
Yeah.
But again, me being the question asker, I just had this discussion just 2 weeks ago with somebody who was talking about chakras or something.
Yeah.
And so my question always is, great. No, that's cool. Show me where they are on a dissection. Well, but it's spiritual. I'm like, no. Because it in fact teaches that they are here. And we've got some color coding going on. So if they are in fact there, show me. Well, but you have to believe. I'm like, well, no, because it in fact is telling me something exists. So I'm just asking a very basic question of cut me open and show me. I'm not arguing that it exists or it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But as a scientist, I'm going to ask those questions of show me the research, make sure it's within the last 5 years, cut me open and show me, point to it on a map, show me, prove it to me. I can't just believe you. Well, it's been around forever. So have a whole lot of really awful things that we don't do anymore.
Yeah.
That's not just...
I never understood this. And frankly, Joseph Campbell and Krishnamurti were on like a big yacht or a ship out at sea and had long conversations, which I was like, oh, this explains so much. Okay. This explains so much. And why do people have such a hard time with a mythological interpretation as opposed to a literal fundamentalist interpretation? There's no mythological framework. It's like, it's literal.
Fundamentalist interpretations imply fact. That would be my answer to that. If you look at something that's mythological, people can believe that as story or as graphic novel. But fundamentalist interpretations of many things are at least expressed as fact.
Yeah.
And if the receiver has their critical thinking skills aren't strong, or they haven't trained their critical thinking skills, you don't come out of the chute with critical thinking skills.
I had a teacher's wall in my old studio, and I had printouts of Jiddu Krishnamurti and Eric Schiffman and, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. and other people that I am inspired by. And there was a Catholic icon of Jesus that I had picked up at a thrift store in Louisiana. And the students in class looked at my wall and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's just my teacher's wall." And they're like, "Yeah, but what's up with the Jesus?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Jesus. It's a Catholic icon of Jesus. It's just my teacher's wall." And they're like, well, Jesus is one of my teachers. That's all. And then, because this is how they think, I'm gonna poke them a little bit. I go, "Listen, the Sacred Heart of Jesus, that's the heart chakra, right?" And they're like, No, that's not what that is at all." And I'm like, "In Catholic iconography, the halo, that's the crown chakra, right?" And they're like, "No, that is." I'm like, "Cool. So what we're going to do here with the shoulder is we're going to put a little pressure right here on this acromion and like continue to work around the deltoid." Because they want a literal interpretation instead of a mythological representation. And that's where I side with Joseph Campbell at a certain point. Like, I'm not reducing people's feelings about things, but I'm with you where I go, "Well, this is what I do. What does the research say?" And they're like, "No, weird." Right. And I'm like, "Here we go," because this is way pre-COVID. And I'm like, "You anti-science, anti-vaxxer, like you." It's like you don't even feel comfortable just asking the question, much less doing research.
Yeah, I this is just speaking only about myself. I can't. All right, let's just use the IT band as an example, right? So just basically, right? So the timeline, 25 years ago when I got into this industry, we could stretch the IT band, right? That was our assumption. That's what we all went with. Great. We couldn't test it. We didn't have the ability to test whether this was fact or fiction, but it provided relief. So, okay, we can stretch it. Let's go with that. What has happened since then? I mean, it wasn't until 2017 where we realized that we could test fascia to the point where we now know that it's contractile in nature, that it actually has some contractibility to it, and that it's the most highly innervated organ in the body. So when I started school, the IT band was a dead piece of tissue that held shit together, and we could stretch it. And then we learned that it's twice the tensile strength of steel, so we can't stretch it. Great. Then in about 2017, we learned, oh my gosh, look at all of this innervation that it has. Great. Oh my God, it has some contractibility to it. Wonderful. And now here we are in 2025. What about those therapists over this period that are still being taught that they can stretch the IT band? This is a great example of keeping current with the literature, with the research, because I've had to change how I've treated that damn piece of tissue 3 times now because science has told me, no, we know more. Okay, I'm going to change and adapt to what we know as the best of the best for now, knowing that as a scientist, that's going to change, and it's probably going to change a bunch more times before I'm dead. So am I being less than ethical by not keeping current? I'm not really sure. I don't know. You can't keep current in everything, but I mean, there are some things that are just open your eyes and open your ears and people are talking about it.
Thai massage comes from Southeast Asia, and it's based on an energy system of Sen. Loam, or wind, is what flows through the Sen. To get the students started, because I was teaching Thai massage initially, I'm like, okay, given the Sen, the Sib Sen, the main lines, and then show them the anatomy. Talk about, pronator teres or whatever. Kind of do a little bit of both to give the Westerners a handle. And then eventually in my curriculum, the students were like, no, but what about the magic lines? And I'm like, magic lines? There are no magic lines. And they're like, what? But you
Where
taught...
are your meridians?
And I'm like, no. Hold on. So we've got Ayurveda in India, and they've got nadis and prana. We've got Chinese medicine and qi and meridians, and we've got Thai massage and traditional Thai body work and traditional Thai medicine, which has got loam and Sen. Which of those is scientifically correct? And they're like, and I go, it's people in Asia trying to explain their experience of what was going on. They're all equally correct.
Yes.
Now, what does the science say? And that's what next level, like, they're like, I don't understand. What's this next level pain relief? And it's like, it's what happens when you take Thai massage and yoga therapy and pain science and you combine them.
And you take it to the next level.
And it's like, oh, it's like, guys, the Sib Sen is just a simple map that a teacher gave to a student. The lines are always over soft tissue. Because if I was a teacher in Southeast Asia and I was Thai, it would be like, give them a map of the Sen and give them a couple sessions and go, cool. Now go do that 10,000 times to 10,000 clients and then get back to me. And I guarantee you're not going to work it the same. When I got Kristen ready to start teaching, she's like, this is bullshit. We don't work these lines this way. And I'm like, correct, but we have to get the therapist started in understanding how to. She's like, but this isn't how we really work, is basically. And it's like,
I get that.
Yes, once you understand, but it's like, for instance, I can use a knee in somebody's neck. Is it the first thing I teach?
Not if you don't want a big ass lawsuit.
Yeah. It's like, we know it's a possibility, and I'm not going to hide information, but it's like they're learning how to use their legs and feet. It's like the use of their legs and feet is going to save their hands. Awesome. But it's like, I'm also fighting essentially a table-based culture. Like, I've got to bring the students along, and along the way, I didn't look at Sen as like fundamentalist. Like, yes, these are mad. And it was like, no. Robert, what do you feel? And it was like, somebody could work on I'm like, wow, I feel that in my hand and arm. And in my head, I went, is it possible that what they were calling Sen is just like nerves and like nerve supply? And it's like, that seems to something along those lines. But for other people, I hate to say this, a lot of therapists, they wanted Asian magic.
There are a lot of students out there that want or think that they want magic or think that they're going to receive magic instruction. I mean, I see this. I really, really, really strongly reinforce that to students that everybody that they lay eyes on this level have worked their asses off to get here, and simply nothing replaces putting your nose to the grindstone. You don't get here quickly.
Yeah.
And you won't be good.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I've learned way more from my own personal experience and pain and from working on clients than I ever did from an individual teacher.
Here's a funny story for you. So, I, as I'm sure you know, Leonardo da Vinci did the most amazing anatomical sketches and drawings. I mean, oh my God, there's a whole app, the Da Vinci app, that's nothing but his anatomical drawings. Beautiful. But funny story about this, right? He was at odds with the church. because you're cutting bodies open. Oh my God, he's doing all this dissection work. And oh my God, this is against God. And so he basically made a deal with the church that as long as he included the 4 humors, this is where the God spirit lives in the body. That was the thought at the time. If you included them in your drawings somewhere and indicated these are where the humors are, you could continue to do your dissections in your anatomical drawings. And he just was like, fine, fuck it. This is what I have to do to get my drawings out. So I'm just going to include your stupid humors that aren't there because I've cut it open and I've looked, but you say that they're here, and here. So fine. You can look them up. It's really funny. It's a great, great story.
There was in addition to the chakra conversation, there was a class years ago, and I don't even remember how we got to this point, but a student in class in front of all the other students was like, how do we open our third eye?
Okay.
And without a pause, I said, you're going to open your third eye by using the first 2. The entire class busted out laughing. I'm like, if you want to open the third eye, you need to start with the first 2. There's a sequence to this. And they're just like, and it's like, guys, like, do they really think that the third eye is literal? Just like a chakra is literal. When thine eye be single, the whole world is light. It's like Jesus in the Gospels.
We are generally,
the Gnostic Gospels.
As a whole, we are in a belief first and ask questions later society. Otherwise, all of these weight loss diets, all this MLM shit. Oh, I mean, so much, billions of dollars, because we're a belief first and ask questions much later, usually after somebody's taken our money and the shit hasn't worked. And it's surprising. It's surprising to me in my field that a lot of folks don't know that many of the gadgets and other things that they're tinkering with have self-paid research. Research isn't research. Where's the money coming from?
Oh, and that's, yeah. Well, sometimes people have a challenge with me because they want to, like, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're a man, you're a woman. Like, they're stuck in these, like, dualities, and they don't understand that I can be, like, almost like libertarian about some things and then like a complete socialist about other stuff. And they're like, no, but that's contradictory. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's just part of a spectrum. And when it comes to the drugs I use, fuck off. And when it comes to like people having access to healthcare, socialize the fucking thing. And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, listen, I'm pro-science. I'm not a big fan of how medicine is practiced for profit in the United States.
Oh, our healthcare blows.
Research is good, but we don't have healthcare.
Not anymore.
Like, then it's like, well, the founding fathers. And I'm like, the founding fathers, if they were lucky, had opium and hacksaws. There was no preventative medicine, guys. Like, Ben Franklin can't, like... He's like, he wouldn't have understood stem cells.
They could have never possibly imagined what society would look like technologically today.
Yeah.
No way. I can clearly remember, God, this was maybe 25 years ago. Feels about right. I read an article and I was so excited to run and tell my wife about it that, oh my gosh, I read an article that in the future, we're going to be able to pick which TV show we want to watch and watch it at that time. And we both looked at each other like, no way, bullshit. How is that possible? And I can remember that to this day. Like, here I am with all my channels. Even I, 25 years ago. So how could we have 250 years ago even begun to envision this, which is why they were smart enough to write a somewhat fluid constitution, at least with amendments, knowing that this would be different. Don't even get down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like I want science and I want research to help verify, but the fundamentals, and I jokingly tell students this, like I mash on people for a living. Now, it's expert artistic mashing. It's biopsychosocial model, mashing. Yeah. But I'm like hanging out with people, and it's just as much the conversation, the connection with the client, as it is the manual therapy. And then students would, do people ever have like emotional releases? And I'm like, all the time. And they're like, well, give us an example. I'm like, women often cry in my intake. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I haven't even touched them. I just sit down and talk to them for 30 minutes about their health and about their pain and about their mobility. And then I go, cool, how's this problem you're having affecting your life? Bro, the waterworks start. Oh, it's caused a problem with my husband. And, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So what's going on? Because I don't think of those as separate layers. I just don't address the emotional. Like I can't get a handle on it the same way I can't get a handle on your spirit. This I can work with. But how are they interacting with their pain? Are they drinking to get rid of it? Are they doing drugs to get rid of it? Are they like doing yoga or like practices to like work on themselves? Like I factor those things, and that's where it becomes exceedingly complex. Remember I said I teach a sequence, upper back and neck, lower back and hips? I don't want to teach sequences. Sequences.
It helps them get to where you want them to eventually get to.
They're like, well, what do I do for a client with shoulder pain? And I'm like, it depends on where the client has shoulder pain. And they're like, what? And I'm like, guys, you have to get to the point where you're a jazz musician.
Ooh, I love that.
And you improvise.
I love that.
I can't do the same session on every client. It's going to suck. And then, well, how do you, and that's like, it's almost like trying to teach someone, how do you have a coffee date conversation? There's too many variables. It's too individual. Well, how do you choose? And it's like, one, I work with the client. I find out where they're having a problem. I tend to focus on that initially because I want the client to feel heard. Sure. You're having a problem with your upper back and neck. I'm not going to go work on your feet first.
Right.
Then I continue the conversation and it becomes more nuanced based on what they're asking for and based on what I think I can deliver. How do you teach improvisation?
You don't. That, I'm sorry. I agree. I agree with Tom Myers on this. He says that it takes about 10 years before you can really even be able to scrape into the world of real clinical where you can see the nuance behind everything or the many different layers or the little things. Like I think we can't see the little bits, which are the key, until we can see the whole picture. And it takes a lot of time to be able to see the whole picture before you can start separating it down into tiny little aspects. I'm going to agree with you, though. When I see a client, first thing they hear is that this is the most important conversation we are ever going to have as long as we know one another. And I sit down and I want to hear their words. Yes, where does it hurt? Great. Now let's figure out what specifically you're doing in your world. And that includes, thank you for mentioning it. I like Lesser's onion skin pain model, but it still is all about the biopsychosocial pain model, that they are equals in that. We can't take the bio away from the psycho, away from the social. And so what is happening in their world to create this pain? And we know, research tells us that the more the client understands how pain works, how it literally works in the body, they will on average see a significant reduction in pain. More so, they catastrophize it less. And I think we've discussed it, that you and I have both been in a situation in our lives where we've been in some real long-term pain.
Yeah.
Man, it affects everything and you don't see it coming. It takes away from your personal life and your social life, and it makes everything just adding different layers, more layers of shitty on top of it, until you're a person you don't even recognize anymore. Because it's not just the bio, it's not just the physical pain. They all are equal partners in this. It's a much bigger picture. And I teach that I don't rub and hope. I don't really touch a body until I have a pretty good clue as to where I'm headed and why I'm even going to do that. And will this be effective for them? The big part of the job is really the conversation. And then the assessment. But you gain almost all you need to really garner from it, I think, through that conversation. Asking very specific questions. You know,
the work fundamentally feels pretty simple. Upper back and neck, lower back and hips. And I'm like, Robert, okay, don't worry about Thai massage. Just think about what you do on an average client in like 5 or 6 steps, and like kind of codify this. Let them know. Like, I started to do this thing where I'm like, it's the primary moves, and we add the secondary and tertiary options. And I'm like, Robert, simplify that. They don't know primary, secondary, tertiary. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a level 1 moves, but the level 2 and 3 moves stack on top. Oh, so you weren't even trying to get us to do, no, I wasn't trying to get you to do a sequence. I was trying to get you to work on Kathleen. And when Kathleen goes, oh, right, oh, now you use the tools and continue to, oh, right. Oh, is that it? Is that the spot? That's it right there. That was what I'm trying to get them to do. But these sequences, especially because of my influence from mat-based work, it's different enough from what they've been taught in school that it comes across as like odd at first. And for pain management, I communicate more verbally. If I'm just in a section of a session where I'm relaxing the person, I rein it in. I hang out more. There's more rocking and the compressions aren't as deep. It still feels nice. I ask the students, like, why I didn't start next level relaxation. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, next level pain relief is the brand. Why is it not next level relaxation? And in fact, I would argue with them, I'm like, listen, you can't have pain relief without relaxation.
Agreed. That's nervous system 101, right? I mean, we're just really trying to get them into a parasympathetic state.
Relaxation in the massage industry, 9 times out of 10, is Swedish.
Yes.
The foundation of my work from Southeast Asia is not effleurage based. And that's where they're like, do you have clients that go to, I'm like, clients go to sleep constantly. They snore while I'm rocking
Mine too.
them.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I'll ask them, does this feel less relaxing? And they're like, no, I actually think this might even be more relaxing in some ways. And I go, okay, but me having next level relaxation is like arguing about Swedish. It's going back to like arguing about what deep tissue is.
I mean, honestly, I would say it already exists. Why reinvent the wheel when you can create something like you have, which is it lives in a different world than relaxation. I mean, yeah.
It's like there's, just like the aquatic therapies, there's room for expansion. There's room for different therapies. Where are all the crazy niche services? The therapists are okay with that conversation. They're like, wow, I never thought about that. Why isn't there an NKT, an NMT, whatever acronym soup, like, NLPR, which is what I do. It's like, why aren't there facilities for this kind of, and they're like, wow, I never really thought about it. It's like all the public has is massage. That's pretty much it. Like, there's like food. I'm in Central Texas. You can go get sushi here. Is sushi indigenous to Central Texas? I can get Jamaican, I can get Italian, I can get Mexican, I can get Tex-Mex, I can get barbecue, I can get Chinese, I can get Sichuan Chinese, I can get Thai, it's like there's all these different kinds of food. Where's all the different kinds of body work? And they're like, dude, the bodywork community is just not developed in the same way. It's not as differentiated in the market.
That's true. I am encouraged by a shift that I've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, though. For the first time, I'm really seeing people enter massage as their first career, not coming from another background like a lot of us did, myself included, right? I had a full another life before I entered this field. And they're entering basically right out of high school or college, first career, and starting out in clinical work. And it has been a joy to teach these students. I'd love to have every class like that, where they're ripe to learn. They chose this field because they want to be in it as their first career, maybe their forever career, hopefully. But I also don't have to really break any habits or change too many ideas that have settled in over the decade before they decided to switch to clinical work. Because that can be it's a struggle enough when, every single day in every class, you'll have one student saying, now tell me why I paid for my massage school education, when you're telling me that the science says it's different than I learned. And I'm like, oh.
And I go, yeah, guys, I went to public school in Louisiana. How do you think my knowledge of history was?
Well, I went to public school in New Jersey, and I feel sorry for you. We're still number one in education.
Were we taught Louisiana history? Were we taught U.S. history? Were we taught world history? Just to use that one subject as an example. Because I am in shock as an adult with access to the internet and the books I read to go, oh my God, they basically lied to us. There was a false bill of goods that was sold at public schools in Louisiana, as far as I was concerned. Now, extrapolating from that one subject, how do I feel about the math, science, geography, geology, other curriculum as well? It's 2025. We have access to the internet. It has very fundamentally changed people's access to information.
True. I'm starting to understand it. It felt a little odd to me. But the questions that I field, and I have fielded over time now, is there's a whole layer of people in our industry that don't understand what the actual term research means. I don't mean that as an insult. Let's be clear out there. You can't be blamed for something that you don't understand. If nobody's taught you something, you don't know. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with providing some clarity. But I did a breakout in one of my classes last year about the difference between research and looking shit up. And I used those terms. Oh, did you give me balloons?
I didn't give you balloons, but that was nice. I liked it.
Somebody gave me balloons. Is somebody else watching this right now? Wow, I get balloons.
It's probably some setting for you on Zoom, but it's fine.
Okay, that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I've learned really quickly is many people think that looking shit up and research are exactly the same thing. They don't even know where to look or how to define that situation of what does it mean. So, my just go to one sentence so I don't waste a lot of time is if you don't find at least a couple of things on PubMed in the last 5 years, then there probably isn't any. And so somebody's either paying for that research or they're just making shit up.
Yeah. I was on suspension in my studio, standing on someone doing a demonstration in class. I'm doing a double-footed compression like on somebody's quads. And I'm like, hey, a little bit down to the knee. Or is it a little like, oh, cool. If I'm a little more lateral, right? Oh, I'm like, is it too much? And they're like, no, but it's at the edge. I mean, back off just a little bit with control on my suspension. I'm standing on someone. This is not taught in massage school.
No.
And a student looks at me and goes, are they doing research on this? And I'm like, are they researching hippies standing on people? No, that money goes to OxyContin. Guys, are they researching this? It's like, dude, I'm like a statistical anomaly. Like, this shit doesn't exist. It's like my industry is not only not paying attention, they're actively, I hate to say, fighting against it. I ran out to the internet with this and said, let's go, let's teach. And they went, no, but we learn hands-on. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a problem. I live in Central Texas. You're going to have to fly to Austin.
Fair.
No, but it's so far. I'm like, cool, I can live stream to 10,000 of you a day if you're really dedicated. And they're like, well, how much? And I'm like, $7 a month. And they're like, I don't understand. And I'm like, you don't understand because my model is direct to consumer. Fuck the schools. Do you have YouTube? There's this thing called a live stream. You can just replicate what I'm doing live and I just teach you. And they're like, but why don't you have a school? And I'm like, I do have a school. It's on the internet. Now give me 500 hours to see what happens. Oh,
there are a lot.
This is so hard.
There are a lot of very, very good massage schools out there. And there are a lot of very bad massage schools out there. I don't want to lump them all into one group. I mean, like Jill Bracana's school was amazing. In Colorado, Sherry Aldrich is just rocking it. There are some just great schools out there, but usually what you find is we enter our local program, we take whatever it is, and I basically just teach like, if you want to stay in relaxation, the whole goal of massage school is to teach you not to really hurt other people and to get your license. Once you get your license, that's when the real learning begins. Our field is pay as you go, continuing education, and invest in yourself. And then you can turn around and charge a whole bunch of money and not really work too hard. But it's going to take a while to reach that point. So what I did and what I still do, I'm actually studying right now Jerry Hesch's sacroiliac certification that I'm working on because I just love his SI joint work and I've been wanting to do this forever. I'm never not taking a class. I'm always into something to level up my own clinical game. But what I started doing first year out, and my recommendation for other therapists is we have we put aside money for all kinds of things. And for me, I have a CE fund that I dump some money into every month. And so when I want to take my next course, I turn around and I have all of the money that I need for that expensive workshop because I invest every month in my CEs, even if I don't know what the next thing coming is. And I get such big eyes over that. I've never considered doing that. And it's a great way to just constantly fund your education. Throw $50 a month in there. By the end of it, you've paid for some of your travel expenses in an expensive workshop somewhere. Those are my thoughts. Prepay it.
I ran 4 camera angles and was like, let's go. And they're like, but no, you need robertsmagictouch.com. Nice. The website is coming. In the meantime, you're going to have to fly to Austin.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, do you know how controversial it's been that I just like, here you go. Here's every recording of every class since 2017. And they go, what? And I'm like, guys, you can just watch the fucking video. Like, how much easier do I have to? Well, I don't know. How much is this? And I'm like, $7 a month. And they're like, this isn't. And I'm like, this isn't how your profoundly sick society does things. I understand. And I'm not well adjusted.
Well, we also
direct to consumer.
True. We don't get the financial breaks that PTs and OTs generally do get by their employer paying for a lot of, if not all of their continuing education. It has to be to do great clinical work in this field, you really have to be self-motivated to a large degree. Nobody's going to ask you to do anything. Nobody's going to ask you to teach their work. Nobody's going to ask you to be a TA. Nobody's going to do any of that. You have to work hard and insert yourself and say, I would like to XYZ. I want to fill in the blank XYZ and let me show you my skill set.
Yeah. Just like we're having a conversation in Zoom, I use this exact same tech and then this handy dandy camera switcher, which is a calculator I strap to my arm with Velcro. And I talk to the students in Pennsylvania live as they're working on a client. And I go, Claire, where did you feel that? Cool. Listen, Maud, I need you to pull your knee just a little bit posterior. Right there. Is that it? When the student is done with the training, that's one-on-one, by the way. It's just me and them.
Oh, that's great.
They go, oh, my God. And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, I didn't have to go anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I've been telling the massage industry for 5 years. Like, why do you want education to be more expensive?
I mean, that's true. Depending on the modality, I personally feel like you need to have hands-on instruction once. Because
it's called massage school.
With the instructor in the specialty in which you're looking to excel. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's a personal feeling based on my experience as a student that I want to be live with somebody just once to see how their body moves, their hand placement, feel their touch, and understand as much as I can from them in a live setting. And then I feel like I can study everything else that they do online successfully. That's just the way I learn, right?
Do I want to work with 10 people or 10,000?
Personally, I want to work with 10.
I do both. Because the 10 come and they're in class, and then I'm feeding the entire live stream to 10,000 people.
I mean, that's an awesome thing.
No, and it's like, listen, Napster is here.
Yeah, that's true.
The Pirate Bay is here. This hoarding information shit is got to go. Here,
I agree with that.
Here's the video vault. This is 23 years of my practice distilled right here into Everclear. Right here.
You know, there's a lot to be said for that. One of the things that I've always really admired about Eric Dalton was that a lot of his work has been available for free online forever also. And not just in little snippets to the point where I'm going to show you something and it's going to be amazing. And I'm going to bring this video right up to the point where I show you the thing almost, but not exactly. And then I'm going to cut it off as a teaser. Give a little information. It doesn't hurt. It won't kill you. It won't break the bank to show full techniques. I mean, Eric has never done it on the scale as you, but it is something I've always admired about him.
Man, I don't know. Like, it does get to a point where I had to stop looking at the massage industry for business advice. And I do really, really well when I just get to the point of, fuck it. Yes, Mr. Lebowski, fuck it. like, I just, like, okay, like, you made a workbook, you made a DVD. You made 4 sets of workbooks and DVDs. It's like, okay, just live stream and just give them access to the full recordings. I can't drag my industry online. In fact, when I say online, do they think I'm switching 4 camera angles live with a camera switcher? I guarantee you, the students who see videos on my social media think that was done in post-production by an editor. Right now, you and I are in Zoom. They can't see all of your background and all of my background because I have rounds in this interface. And there is a picture of stars from the James Webb Telescope in the background.
Ooh.
And they're like, how did he do that? And I'm like, software. Like, guys, don't worry. The genetic engineering is going to give us new bladder options.
Oh, great. Ain't nothing going to happen before I'm dead with this administration cutting off
God.
funding to everything. Talking about research. Don't even
like,
get me on.
I am not lying. This will happen. Therapists are like, Robert, you are so negative about massage therapists. And I'm like, oh, no. Hold on. You're thinking very myopically. I'm very negative about my species. I'm not very impressed. In 2025, and they're like, what are you not impressed with? I'm like, have you looked at our president? Let's extrapolate to what the average person in America is thinking about. Because they chose that dude and said, I want him to lead us. It's like, I don't care if you're left or right wing. Well, I'm recording it. I can edit it out later. If you wanted to understand my mindset, I think I would tell people to go watch Life is Worth Losing by George Carlin and Back in Town. If you listen to those 2 comedy routines, you'll understand what the problem is with Robert mentally. Like, George made me cackle existentially because it was like George was smart. He could see the problems and he went, it's hopeless. Just give up.
A little bit. I'm a huge George Carlin fan too.
Yeah.
He was quite the philosopher, wasn't he?
Oh, dude, I wanted to do stand-up because of George, and it was because of stuff like Back in Town when he opened up with, like, basically a bioethics conversation. It's like, life is sacred? Says who? God? If you look throughout history, God is the leading cause of death.
I know, right?
It's bioethics. It was like, how did you do a bit on bioethics without ever using that word and, like, bringing the audience along with you to, like, think, that direction. Like, I hold in exceedingly high regard George, and the
Richard Belzer also.
I don't know Belzer quite as well. His material
outside of his Law and Order days, you need to look at some of his early stand-up. He's very much fine with that.
Yeah,
really cutting.
There's
commentary.
Other things outside the massage industry. So, like, I play poker online, and then I've got, like, liquor and coffee tastings and other stuff I've, like, expanded into. And then people are like, this is not health and wellness. I'm like, hey, bro, you define health and wellness however you define it. I'm having tequila after this. Like, I don't give a shit what you think. It's like, there's diversity where there's a difference between, I guess, George Carlin as a person and George Carlin as the comic. And there's a line there where people can't necessarily separate the art from the artist, but it was a carefully cultivated, like, persona over the years. The same thing happens with me. I'm a guy. Like, I have different interests outside of the massage and bodywork world, but I had to integrate into society and figure out how I was going to make a living. And then getting into what I do, I feel very adept at it. But the answers that I come to, the conclusions I come to are often like, this guy is unglued. Like, trust me, school owners are not contacting me saying, Robert, could you live stream into our school and show students? And I'm like, sure, I'd be happy to. I don't get that message. they're like, this guy is introducing chaos. Like, this is, he can't be controlled. He's teaching on the internet. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm just making access to information easy. And they're like, but you're pissed off because the model is direct to consumer and I'm not cutting you in or asking your permission.
I don't really see that there would be a legitimate ethical objection to that. And also, I'll tell you, a couple of the best hands-on students that I've ever seen, I have not taught them, but I've been in workshops with them, attended them because they had sick family members and they wanted to learn how to perform the techniques, not for money, but for their ill family members. And I remember very clearly this little 80-year-old man one time was in a workshop of mine years ago that I was taking. I was not teaching it. And, my own stupid ass mind smirked to myself like, look at this guy. What's he really going to get out of this class? And he told his little story that he had a sick wife who had some orthopedic issues and he wanted to learn how to help her. And to this day, he is one of the most natural, hands-on, talented people I have come across. He was working his model. I couldn't believe it. That was a big lesson for me in my own mind to shut the hell up, Kathleen.
The Thai massage jam
a little bit more
is going to wind up at the Integrated Therapies Institute. And this is one of the things that I'll discuss with people, and they're just like, wait, what? And it's like, the sense I've had over the years, and this may change, we haven't reached a critical mass. We're not in all 50 states. We're not. But the Thai massage jam, this weird thing will happen where a massage therapist will come in. They will ask me questions, and I'll teach them little bits for free. And then they're like, do you have a CE class? And I'm like, yeah, it's coming up. I got one here in August, later this month. And they're like, well, why would I take your CE class if I could learn for free at the jam? And I'm like, that's a good question. Because there are therapists that literally will come to the jam, get a little uncomfortable for some reason that I can never discern why, and say, no, I want a CE class. I'm like, yeah, it's $500. And they're like, well, why is it so expensive? And I'm like, because you're asking me to do paperwork and like keep records and deliver a CE class with credits attached. You can learn the same information for free at the jam. And it's like, no, but I want a CE class. What that therapist is saying is, I don't want to work with the public.
See, now what I'm reading is that I want the education, but I don't want to pay for it. That's how I read.
Massage jam.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sure.
They want the education. They don't want to pay for it. It's called my membership vault, $7 a month.
That's how I read that. I mean, it's really tricky because I don't really want to be rude about it, but it took a lot of effort to reach this level of instruction. And I don't get paid a lot. I'm not getting rich off of this, but also I shouldn't have had to work this hard to reach this level to then teach you for free.
So somebody will come to the jam. And
yours and mine are very different. We don't have like jams or all of that video ever I'm
the licensed therapist and you're the peon of the public. If I'm a therapist, I want to take a CE class with an educator who's got a license, who's a CE provider, and I get CEs for my class. Generally speaking, I'm just making a generalization based on what I've seen, the Austin massage community has not supported the Thai massage jam.
That's so weird.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would a table-based industry support mat-based work that Robert just gives away like an anarchist to the public?
Well, one thing that I can say, incidentally, that I learned, seems like I should have been aware of this, but you met my colleague Taylor Springs when you were at my place a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Taylor is great. She's going to be one of our industry leaders long past the point that I'm dead. But she's involved in, what is it? It's not, it's like some cross between acrobatics and
Acro yoga.
Acro yoga.
Yes.
It's like circus stuff. It's the way she described it to me.
The acro yoga community in Austin has been a huge, if not the largest, supporter for the Thai Massage Jam.
And so we're getting interest from them because I honestly didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I believe in licensure. I am one of those folks who will say that I believe in certifications. I really do.
The only reason I believe in certifications is because I have one.
I believe in them because it shows at least some level of proficiency. But also, let's face it, from a marketing standpoint, your clients want to know that you've actually trained in something and have proof and you can show them. And so business-wise, it's a selling point that we can't deny. Does it mean that there aren't great therapists without certifications? Oh, hell no, not at all. Does it mean that there are lousy therapists with certifications? Oh, God, yes, absolutely. But at least it shows some level of proficiency, and the public knows that you're not BSing them.
The therapists are okay with the CE class. They're okay with a partner massage class where a therapist is teaching the public. But the stratification is what they need. If they can't figure out who has a license and who doesn't, they become exceedingly uncomfortable.
Who does? The client or the therapist?
The therapists do.
Really?
I've had a therapist work on me at a jam and then look around and go, I don't know. I'm really into following the rules. I just don't know about this. I don't. They were taught in massage school that massage is dangerous. Robert shows up and throws down mats and works with and teaches and shares freely and openly. Am I lauded by my community as a hero? No. I'm called names. And I'm like, here, it's free.
Well, let me tell you, spending a lot of time on some of the massage subreddits, Dan Skippy, the massage is dangerous. Some of the pictures that are posted on a daily basis of what therapists have done to these people is unbelievable. Horrifying and shocking.
I've run the Thai Massage Jam for 13 years. To my knowledge, nobody's ever been injured. I'm there looking around the room, sort of supervising, if you will.
Oh, I don't. Yes, yeah. You know I'm not referring to you, Robert.
No. I know, but the thing is,
supervised work, but
it's not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not just the conversation between you and I. There's a weird thing because basically there's not enough massage therapists to support my business. So increasingly I'm looking at teaching the public directly, and the therapists are like, no, but we don't want you to teach the public directly. And I'm like, why do you not want the public to have information that can help them? And they're like, but I'm special. I'm elite. I have a license. And I go, okay, there's a CE class coming up. Breaking down, I don't have a brick and mortar school. I go direct to consumer. I don't care if it's in person. I'll teach you online. I don't care if it's one-on-one. I'll teach 10,000 of you a day globally via live stream. They're like, we have rules. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I break all of them. But I have a lawyer and I don't break the law. You're resistant to change. As a species, you do not want change. There is nothing about my practice that is not a burr in the ass of the massage industry. Someone else you mentioned earlier, Sherry Aldrich, I think she and I had a conversation at some point. This is many moons ago, and I have to assume things. And I'm not saying anything bad about Sherry, by the way. She's great.
Yes.
she was having a conversation, and I can't remember if she wanted to do a podcast or she wanted me to go to the school, and we had some conversation, and I'm like, listen, you have to understand that I'm fundamentally, morally, and ethically opposed to massage licensure. And that pretty much ended the conversation, to my memory. And it's like, people don't agree with me. That's fine. I'm willing to have a debate on it, but I think it's a bunch of bullshit, personally.
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we can't kumbaya with different opinions. And that's the beauty of it right there. I
have 3 licenses in Texas, regardless of what I think about it.
I'm sure that you can support your argument as well as that I can support my argument, and neither will be right and neither will be wrong. That's the beauty of what we're doing right now and sharing ideas. I think the last thing you would want me to do is sit here and just agree with you like, like a moron worshiping a wizard. You don't want that from me.
No.
Right? Or you wouldn't have me here. I wouldn't want that from you.
There is a difference between what licensure does and what people think it does. And at the Time Massage Jam, all I did was just, okay, my session fees go up. People can't afford it. Come to the jam. Okay, my class fees go up. I can't afford it. Come to the jam. We're gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're gonna solve this problem. And simultaneously, they go, we don't like what you're doing. And I'm like, you don't like that I help people freely and openly? Do you want to crucify me the way you did Jesus? Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Jesus might be a little extreme, but
he compared himself to Jesus. And I'm like, well, I mean, I thought Christian meant little Christ. I thought Jesus was the benchmark for human behavior that you had to compare yourself to. And they're like, this guy's got to go. This is chaos. And it's like, no, I'm giving people information and sharing freely. Josh Terry is a friend of mine. He came to the jam years ago. We became friends. Josh would be at the jam. Josh would like work on some massage therapists who came in, and then the therapist would ask Josh, like, where do you work? And he's like, oh, I teach over at the music school. I teach violin. And they're like, oh my God, you're not a licensed massage therapist? And he's like, oh no, I just been studying with these guys for years. The therapists are unsettled when the information goes to the public. They are used to, I go to a massage school, I get the massage curriculum, I take the MBLEX, I get my license. When that shit starts to break down further than a partner massage class, in my experience, the therapists become uncomfortable. I've had people tell me that I'm the reason they're unlicensed practitioners. And I'm like, oh, really?
Well, you can't be ethically responsible for somebody who's charging money when they shouldn't. That's
I'm like, guys, if you have a problem with people charging without a license, you need to go after Stretch Lab and Stretch Zone. I'm not the problem.
I do have a problem with people charging without a license, because I think people should have a license, and that they are inherently breaking the laws that exist. I mean, look, I tend to be a bit of a scofflaw myself. I really do. But I think if people start charging, it is an offense to those who have taken the time and may have made the exhaustive efforts to graduate from massage school. No matter how good or bad that school is, they've made the effort, whereas somebody who's decided that they are the anatomist and physiologist and can ignore all of that training and go ahead and just start charging people. Now, what I am for is doing all of the work and not charging, because why not? It's your body and you own it. So, So my thought is, actually, I just thought of it. There's a big community where they absolutely work on each other and take manual therapy training, and that is in orchestras.
Yeah.
We have regularly, or had for many years, a member of the San Francisco Orchestra who took adult in class every year because she would work on her colleagues and not charge. They'd work on each other.
Yeah.
And I have people here in the Dallas Orchestra who also do the same thing, that they've taken manual therapy classes so they can work on each other for free. So that I find perfectly responsible and ethical. There's no money taking place, and they're not trying to pretend that they know any more than they do. Like, that's where, to me, it becomes dangerous.
The therapists don't have a problem with a Parker massage class. But the jam starts, and we'll see what happens when the jam kicks up at the facility. The jam starts this thing where it's like, I don't understand. This isn't a CE class, and you're like teaching the public directly. And I'm like, yeah, I just teach freely and share with anybody who shows up.
Well, luckily, I own the institute.
Well,
and I don't get involved in any of that.
Well, there's layers, and it's like I'm coming in and saying, "Hey, let's look at the mat."
I love it.
It's almost like writing in Arabic. It's like, cool, it's from right to left now, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is chaos."
Well, change makes many people uncomfortable. I don't know why. I've always just run towards change. Like, give me more change.
I mean, to a degree, like Facebook can change something on my screen and I'll get annoyed for 5 minutes because I can't find what I'm used to finding in the same spot or something. Like, I'm not as, I'm also susceptible to that. But it's like, I've got an industry where therapists on average, I'm told, last 3 to 5 years. Their hands are killing them and they're not making enough money. And I'm like, cool, have you looked at this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yes, my hands don't hurt and I've managed to survive.
Sometimes they just need to see it once and feel it once to be swayed.
They need brick and mortar facilities and the social proof that comes from seeing other therapists doing the work successfully. Then, when the public is knocking on their door asking for next level pain relief, they will feel cool performing it, not before. The therapists are just cogs in a machine of the massage industry. I even started calling it the massage industrial complex in class just to see how students respond, and they're like, facility owners need easily replaceable labor. And that's what the massage schools have provided. If a student comes in and I've taught them mat work and they want to do this mat work, that student becomes a problem in that facility because this guy is not a team player. This person is trying to change, like, I'm like, go ahead, give it to me. We're doing massage here.
I would say that there are a lot of modalities that a massage school would not be, or a spa is not interested in the therapist performing. Like, part of my background is in neuromuscular reprogramming. I'm level 4 certified plus advanced scoliosis. And I don't know of a single spa that would allow something like that or NKT to take place either, because it's outside of what people know as massage, right? I don't know. I don't know how to break those.
I begged massage therapists for years to do table tie. I teach table tie, taught table tie, led classes, provided information, and all of a sudden, Stretch Lab, Stretch Zone, and every ad looked like table tie. And I went, guys, apparently there was and they're like, no, my clients want massage. And I'm like, what is massage? And they're like, God damn it. Like, and now massage therapists are angry that real estate was taken by people in the stretch therapy community. And it's like, yes, I told you for 10 years to go take it. and you sat around and wanted to deliver the same effleurage-based service. So now my question is, if what I do is next level pain relief, can I teach people who do stretch therapy? And they're like, no, you can't. And I'm like, okay, I have a lawyer. Why do you want me to not provide information to people that can help them? And they're like, no, it's only for, okay, cool. You're the licensed professionals. I have classes. Come on. I have a membership at $7 a month. Come on. Now, why do I not want to teach people in Japan whose massage licensure laws I have no awareness of? I want to be big in Japan. I thought being mat-based was controversial. This was the controversy. Robert adapted to the internet faster than everybody else, and everyone slowly lost their minds because Robert is not controlling data. Robert is just giving stuff away freely. And I'm like, yeah, why is that so controversial?
I'm not really sure of the legalities of it all. Is it controversial for legal reasons?
Well, without going into great detail, it was kind of like I mentioned Sherry Aldrich. I don't have any ill feelings or whatever. I just mentioned Sherry because I remember there being a conversation with her at some point, and you'd mentioned her name earlier. I've talked to students in my classes. They come in, they take class. They're in Texas. They're getting CE in Texas. I have 3 licenses in Texas, and I'm an NCBT and B approved provider across like state lines. And I go, guys, why can't you just study this with me online? And they're like, well, but, and I'm like, in the state of Texas, even during COVID, you cannot deliver hands-on instruction online for CE credit. I'll say that again. In Texas, you can't teach hands-on instruction online for CE credit. Why? And they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, because I'll give away CE credit to every Texas massage therapist forever for free and destroy the market. That's why. And they're like, what? And I'm like, guys, schools have passed laws. They had lobbyists. They control the market. And they control the market by blocking people like me on the internet who can give information away more freely. And they're like, what? I'm like, okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the shoulder right here, right around the acromion, and we're going to get to the deltoid. Texas didn't even change that during COVID. You still had to take hands-on instruction in person. You couldn't do it online.
Well, my first reaction to all of that is anybody who is doing any kind of clinical work and is counting their CEs already isn't studying enough. To me, if one is learning for CEs, then they're never going to work any harder than they're looking to complete their state requirements.
I mean, okay, give me an idea. So we know this. Therapists go through 500 hours of training. Yeah. If from the beginning, if I had 500 hours and I didn't know what you did at all, how many hours would I need to train with you in person to be able to understand like what you're doing and make adequate use of it? Can you give me an idea of how many hours you think that would be?
Yes, but let me clarify. So they are just coming out of massage school.
Yeah,
and
they did their base training. They don't know anything else other than what they just learned in school. 24.
I would take in a 3-day class. I can have them apply a whole bunch of things and understand some solid reasons why.
Yeah. Now,
1 3-day class, I feel pretty confident.
I don't know how many classes it would take, and fundamentally, I'm teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to an industry full of boxers. They're like, oh shit, you're using your, oh my God.
So that's different then, because now you're taking them out of one thing that they know and trying to, so that's not the same blank slate we were talking about. I might have to double that time if I'm trying to change mindset of bringing them out of,
well,
you know.
And there's degrees. Like
Sure.
if I mean, would I prefer to have the students in person for 500 hours? Yes. But it's not reasonable to expect that because they just spent $10,000 going to the local school. Now they're like, this is expensive. And I'm like, $7 a month. And they're like, oh. Well, no matter what form I give it in, there's just more complaints. And it's like, guys, you do not understand what the full spectrum of my service looks like. And you don't understand how I'm interacting with clients. What I do is completely unavailable, and it would be banned. It would not be allowed in massage facilities unless you disguise it as table work. Mat work is not allowed. They keep saying I'm anti-table, and I'm like, no, I'm pro-mat.
Is it not allowed, or is there nobody interested in hosting you? It's not banned.
Can you put a mat down at Massage Envy? I guarantee you they've got a corporate policy that says you have to have table work.
Probably. I just wanted to clarify the language for the viewers and listeners that it's because it's not, they feel like it's not sellable in intro, like spa work versus being banned. I just wanted the audience to understand what you
So I'll teach a class. It's on a table. Halfway through the table-based class, the students start getting on the table. And I'm like, you're doing mat work, you're doing mat work, or you're doing mat work. Why did you get on the table? And they're like, well, I wanted more leverage and pressure. And I'm like, the most leverage and pressure is on a mat. And they're like, oh. I'm like, guys, it's not a table. It's a sky mat. It's a sky mat. Like, I don't know why you think in this dualistic framework, it's the same thing in an elevated platform. That's all. You cannot go to the heavyweight championship of the world for boxing and do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's not allowed. It's against the rules. Massage facilities, big box chains will not at this stage allow mat work at all. That means it blocks 90% of what I'm teaching. Like, this is the thing. When I come into a massage school and throw down a mat and act like this is a legitimate option, that's where it starts to, like, this guy's got to go. This is a problem. Not only is this guy corrupting the youth, but he's running around doing it from 4 camera angles globally. He just said openly that he doesn't care about massage licensure. He's got to go. This is a problem.
Well, I'm not really sure. I think I still have to agree to disagree on that with you.
How so?
Except that I will say, for what I teach, okay, for Dalton Myoskeletal, it's only been a couple of years that we've had educational material about how to integrate it into spa work. Because there's a lot that a spa is just not designed for. And I would say that's most clinical work. I don't think that they're any more interested in having any real neuro work, any Thai work, any myoskeletal alignment work. I think that spas inherently are designed by their nature to focus on relaxation. So the question would be, for me, where are the clinical spas? Why don't they exist? Where you can find, your work can find a home and my work can find a home where it's a relaxing environment where people go to seek clinical work. That doesn't exist. You're either in private practice like me, or it's relaxation spa work where that whole outfit down to the bare bones is designed only for relaxation work. So you don't fit, I don't fit, a lot of people don't fit. The model, there's no model that exists for us outside of small private practice for a lot of us, I think.
Yeah. And the way that I reached out to those individual students and made it affordable.
Sure.
Was to go, let's keep going.
I think that it's fair for students to find some of our classes and workshops a little expensive. I do try and reinforce to them that basically for the same information, PTs are paying about $3,500 to $4,000 a class. So our workshops look really inexpensive to other manual therapy professionals, but also as soon as you collect a good handful of CEs, raise your rates. Next big handful of CEs, raise your rates. We get our payment on the back end, right? We have to pay it forward for our education, but we should expect a return on the back end when we get better.
I had a conversation when I taught at your facility this last class, and I said, guys, I want to expand my membership so that I have 10,000 members. When my membership has 10,000 members paying me $7 a month, it means I'll make $70,000 a month. $70,000 a month is $840,000 a year. Now that I'm making $840,000 a year, I no longer have to charge for classes, and I no longer have to charge clients. And they just went, well, wait, no, but I want in person. And I'm like, I'll give you in person, but the class will be free. And it's like, no, but I want in person. And I'm like, oh my God. What the fuck did I just say that is not being understood? Do I want to teach 10 people or 10,000? Because I'm going to do both. I'm going to live stream the goddamn class. And they're like, you're not conforming to there's this thing called the internet. It's been around for a little while. We're going to harness this. And we're not at the point yet where, I'm switching camera angles with this. But what happens when the students have VR headsets and they can just look around the room?
Oh.
I can live stream to every massage school in America where a therapist was interested and say, cool, bring everybody in. I'll do it for free. And now I'm going to teach 10,000 people. You guys can all work on each other and give hands-on feedback following the sequences I'm going to show you. And they're just like, oh.
Yeah, maybe. I can see how it could be more challenging to learn remotely.
Yes.
In massage school, for sure. I can see.
Now, these people are out of core, by the way. This is talking about people who've already got a basis since 500 hours. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a little different.
Yeah. It's like, so it's not that I'm withholding information. It's just that I mentioned massage schools because it would make sense. They have the space. Massage schools could essentially have me influence their students or people going through school or who had just gotten their license to like have trainings this way where they could come in once a week and just tune in for 2 hours. And they're like, how much? And I'm like, $7 a month. And they're like, fuck. But we sell, it's basically like the recording industry. We sell records. This is chaos. He's just allowing people to download. And like I had somebody one time, they go, the problem with your workbooks and DVDs is they're digital. And I'm like, why is that a problem? And they're like, dude, somebody's going to put it on the Pirate Bay and steal it. And I'm like, why would anybody put it on the Pirate Bay and steal it when they can just ask me for a free copy? Does Metallica really lose out that somebody downloaded Enter Sandman one time?
Metallica does not lose out, but every other band that you've never heard of does.
They're not adapting to the marketplace. When I talked to a musician, there was a young lady here in town. She came to the Time Massage Jam and later went to massage school, thanks to our dastardly influence, destroying the massage industry, by the way. So she went to massage school. She was a musician, and she basically lamented to me that she couldn't release an album and make money. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. So you're angry that you can't release an album like it's 1972 and Led Zeppelin? And she's like, yeah, like they just download the album. And I'm like, listen, there's this thing called Twitch. You can get on Twitch and you can live stream and have the Friday night pajama concert, where you're in your bedroom in your pajamas playing, and your fans can participate and hang out with you live and donate money live. And she's like, no, but I want to sell an album. And I'm like, listen, Robert Plant and the guys, John Bonham, did not like the recording industry any more than you do. But it was necessary. It's not necessary anymore. We have new shit. You got to adapt and sell t-shirts. I
agree with that.
Well, and you and I have had this conversation. If I was going to recommend something to educators in the massage industry, I'm like, if you don't have a membership, I don't know if you're going to be here in 20 years. And they're like, what? And I'm like, okay, trust me.
I have to agree that yes. As a whole, we are a little bit behind.
A little?
I'm being kind. I'm being diplomatic. We are a little bit behind in American massage therapy as far as our use of tech. We really are.
I mean, no. I would argue that the massage industry is anti-tech, period. Like it's something that people in my classes have been just like, this is chaos. And I have to go, guys, it's a supplement.
Right.
That's all.
Are we an industry that's hesitant to take on?
Our industry is Amish.
Ha! All right, that's pretty funny.
If I talk to a student, and granted, I did this first, before I recorded classes, I would just talk about social media. This happened when I just taught at your place. A student came in from Wisconsin. She flew into Dallas from Wisconsin. And I go, how did you find me? And she's like, oh, I saw some YouTube videos. I'm like, if you don't mind my asking, do you also hate social media? And she's like, absolutely. And I go, guys, I want you to notice that this young lady came from Wisconsin. She found me on YouTube. She also hates social media. Do with that information what you will. It's like, it's a table. No, it's a sky mat. Wait, it's social media. No, it's digital word of mouth.
There's a big reason why I am a Redditor and I have to force feed Meta to myself because I know that Facebook is where our industry lives. It is. It just is. I don't know if we'll migrate at some point.
Eventually, all the platforms will change. It will.
But I mean, I find like I find that I have intelligent professional conversations on Reddit, and I cannot find as much of that as I'd like to.
Oh, I run Massage Entrepreneurs, and I can barely post in my own goddamn group because they'll all mock and make fun of me. And I'm like, you guys know I'm the admin, right? And they're like, we don't like you and your opinions. And I'm like, okay, cool, but you can't delete me because I'm the admin.
Well, honestly, a lot of it is the definition of the situation, and Facebook is clearly in the pocket of the ruling bodies at this time in our country. And there's just that bias has a trickle down effect. Yeah. I find a lot of Facebook to just be very angry.
Sure. I can have Ed Snowden level critique of social media and what I've seen, but I honestly have no idea how I would build a business in 2025 without it.
Exactly.
Like it's almost, I hate to say a necessary evil, but like
I agree.
If I wanted to, not be involved with anything related to Meta, I couldn't avoid it.
No, there's no way. There's not with what we do for work. That's where our business lives. And so, I have some of my lifelong friends on there also. So, there's that, but I go with a purpose rather than an intent to scroll these days because it just makes me angry and it gets me upset. So much misinformation. I just want to pull my hair out.
Well, I love my mom, but my mom was like, "Baby, you don't watch the news," and I had this moment where I was like, I hate to say this, but if somebody watches the news, I don't necessarily assume anymore that that means they're more informed. It's like this is not what was the not Harvey Keitel? What was the guy's name? Like when Kennedy was shot, I could see his face. The newscaster almost
Oh,
started to cry. It's
um,
Walter Cronkite.
right.
Yeah, like it's just not that era, man. It's like this is not the Vietnam War and like 2025, this shit is wow, it's changed. Like it's
It's
just not the
very
same.
different.
It's not the same media landscape, and unfortunately, people are so inundated with information, nobody knows what's true anymore.
I saw a cartoon the other day of the, you know, the four horsemen, right? The different uh social things that are going to come for you. I forget what the four horsemen are, but the fifth one, they added it a new one and said the fifth horseman, misinformation, right? And they're all in the black robes with the pointy hats and the sickle on a horse. Those are the four horsemen. And there's like there's a new one, misinformation. I'm like, yes, that could be a real death knell for
It's interesting. Like I mentioned, George Carlin and George talked about the world just circling the drain, and if you're in America, you have a front row seat. And I'm amazingly optimistic. And I think it's because of the individual reach where I can put out, free information. It's certainly not as sexy as other people's stuff, and it's certainly not as funny as other people's stuff, but I can certainly put out education. I talked to like the young lady who, was angry she couldn't sell an album. I'm like, you can go direct to consumer. Like you can do things in a way that like you can literally build a fan base in Romania if that's what you want to do. Like you have global, like why is global reach a problem? I talked to somebody in the massage industry one time, this is many years ago, and the problem was the internet. And I'm like, free global data, like free dissemination of information was a problem for your business. And they're like, yes, people just steal. Dude, I heard that and I ran like my ass was on fire towards the internet. And I'm like, give it away faster and better than everybody else.
there are a lot of advertising dollars in that come back at you.
It's I mean, there's like, I've had somebody tell me that they think the problem with me was Gary Vee. I was too influenced by Gary Vee. And it was like, even the cursing, they're like, you got that shit from Gary Vee. And I'm like, oh, I already cursed. I just never heard anybody do it in a boardroom. It was like, Gary had this street level hustle. And when my industry went, no, but we don't like social media. And no, we don't want to like video. And no. Like I told my students at one point, I'm like, make so much video that other massage therapists hate you. And they got upset at me. How dare you? We don't want people to hate. And I'm like, listen, you need to go study with somebody else. If you do the full expression of what I'm teaching, it is disruptive to the massage industry. Massage therapists are not going to like you, and you're going to receive some hate mail if you make video at scale. I'm sorry. There is no way around that.
I don't think that massage therapists aren't going to like you. They don't have any skinny in that game. They only have something to gain from following you. I can see how it could be a little sandpapery for other professionals.
Social proof.
Oh, well, yeah.
When they see enough therapists do it successfully and it's not me, then that'll be okay. But the initial response, like we've been in this podcast for a little while. How many people have lasted this long? And I guarantee you there are people who are like, okay, let me get the mute button because when this fucking guy talks, we'll mute that, but we'll listen to her.
Well, I'm just driven to up the ante in education in our field, almost no matter how I have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm determined to pick them off one by one if I have to start changing the mindset of what we can do.
Yeah.
And the script, changing the script also as far as how we accomplish it.
Yes.
I teach Dalton Myoskeletal and I love it. And it is the foundation to my work, no doubt. But I've studied under everybody, man. Like what I do in clinic is pulled from everybody under the sun. I'm well over 12,000 hours of continuing education. I mean, I force feed it to myself because I can't get enough. I'm like, what's his name? The Planet Eater. Well, the World Eater in Marvel.
That from Marvel? I forget the name. Yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy because I just saw the movie.
I was thinking of the Transformers, but that's more my generation.
I'm older than you. I'm pre-Transformers. But yeah, I also just finished reading all 416 first books of the Fantastic Four the week before the movie came out. I'm a comic book collector. And so, yeah, I jack around like that too.
I always go back to, if I get resistance in education, I'm like, guys, it's just a supplement. And then they back off. Like, oh, okay, it's just a supplement. Okay, well, we can't allow it for CE credit. And I'm like, why? And fundamentally, it's because school owners are shaking in their boots because they know that the internet's not going to stop growing and they're going to lose control of their brick and mortar establishments. And it's like, massage education has to be done hands-on, in person. And I'm like, okay, law says what it is. I don't dole out licenses. Why can't continuing education happen via cameras? CE credit be damned.
It does seem a little behind to not at least allow some of it.
Well, it is, as long as it's not hands-on. You could teach theory.
Hands-on.
Yeah, or if you and I decided, hey, we want to do a class together. Great. Okay, let's do a class on like business and marketing. Cool. We can deliver that for CE credit in Texas. It is allowed because it's not a hands-on topic. But a hands-on topic, and I'm like, why that? Why is that one? And they're like, and it's like, are they using laws to protect the public, or are they blocking competition? Because I lean over the latter as opposed to the former.
Could be, but it wouldn't necessarily be eliminating competition if everyone were allowed to teach classes online.
And I'm sure they would start teaching from 4 camera angles live daily.
Well, probably not. Probably not. Again, with that subject, I'll just go back to a talking point that I discuss pretty regularly, that if you're really interested in beefing up your practice and learning some great clinical skills, then you shouldn't be counting CEs anyway. Hitting the bare minimum is just going to make you a bare minimum kind of therapist.
Yeah.
And that's the answer, period.
Yeah.
If you even have to look to consider when your board contacts you to renew your license, you even have to consider, do I have enough CEs? Then clinical work probably is not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm in Austin, and just like I did at your place, I bring my computer and my cameras and I film my class. Sure. How many educators in Austin contact me and say, Robert, can you use your cameras and record my class? And I go, sure.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that broadcasts like that.
I have therapists. They go, man, I don't know. Like the social media thing is like hard, and you have all these fancy cameras. And I'm like, cool, why don't you just come to my studio, set up? I'll just record it from 4 camera angles and cut it into clips for your social media.
Sold. I'll be right there.
Well, but you're willing to work with me, and here's the difference. Like I told Kristen, like, I don't need bootlicking supplicants. Like, we don't have to agree on everything.
You're not going to get that from me.
But I don't get a sense from you that you're fighting, to like maintain whatever norms are going on in the industry. You're trying to figure out your own input, and then like, how do we expand?
That's it.
Like, I had some people, they wanted me to join some, I can't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. It was some professional org. It wasn't ABMP or AMTA. It was something else. And as soon as they contacted me to be a part, I'm like, cool, I'm going to start a podcast. And they're like, and somebody pulled me aside and like, Robert, the people who run this are a lot older. They're not going to be okay with a podcast. And it all goes back to control. We have to control the narrative and control what people say, which is why I make them uncomfortable, because they're like, this guy is rogue. It's like, we can't shut him down. He's not doing anything illegal, but like, holy moly, like, this guy is promoting mat work in a table-based industry. Like, he doesn't hold any of the things sacred that we hold sacred.
Honestly, I find you easy to work with, and you and I have had just some great, great discussions over time. Personally, I'd like to think that I can work with anybody who I find to be ethical, and that's almost everybody. And those who don't fit that bill, I just simply don't work with them, or I don't ask them to teach at my place anymore.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm a very odd duck, and I know that, and that's okay. I think it's one of the things that makes me pretty darn good at what I do. But I really only have some basic concerns. I live by a strong ethical code that never wavers. Mark that. Note that. I wake up every day considering how I'm going to live my life with ethical purpose. Legitimately.
I had a focus.
I not to spend my time around anybody who doesn't.
Yeah, as a philosophy student, my focus was on ethics and existentialism.
Oh God, I've read plenty of Sartre. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, though sociology, anthropology, women's studies were my 3 stalwarts in academia, my focus was sociological theory. Which basically is philosophy. You and I have probably read a lot of the same work.
Yeah.
You can't get to one without driving through the other, which is philosophy.
Yeah, it's like nobody. Well, I hate to say this. I feel like people sometimes get offended where they're like, what gives this guy the right to just question everything that we do in our industry? And I'm like, no. This is just where I chose to work. Like, I question everything, like to a point that other people are uncomfortable, and they're like, free will. And I'm like, do people have free will? What is free will? And they're like, oh shit. Like, dude, are you serious right now? And I'm like, is it predetermined? And they're like, holy shit. And like, guys, if you start digging, like, it gets murky real fast. Now, remove that existential big picture and just focus on the massage industry. And I go, why not work on a mat? And they're like, no. We just spent 500 hours on a table. And I'm like, why? Why aren't you taught mat work in core curriculum? And they're like, but Robert, this isn't massage. I'm like, great, then we don't need licenses in all 50 states.
You and I are going to have fisticuffs over this.
Okay. Do they need a license to do what they do at Stretch Lab and Stretch Zone?
I would want to say that they should.
Okay, but they don't.
But I'm going to add, I raise this question to the public. when you go for your next stretching appointment, first have your stretch therapist define the difference between intrafusal and extrafusal fibers. And if they don't know, walk out.
I don't know what that is.
It's the very basic nature of how our fibers are contractile. It's if we don't understand graded exposure stretching, just the basic understanding how the fibers move, then you shouldn't have somebody saying that they are a professional stretch therapist when they don't understand the biology of how tissues glide against one another.
When I look at the stretch community, I'll just call it that, and I say, cool, can I train them in next level pain relief? And they're like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, you're the ones who told me it wasn't massage. Like, I was the guy who came in and it's like, I just taught Thai massage. No big deal. It's just Thai. Then they're like, what you teach isn't Thai. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. Then the next thing I know, what you're teaching isn't massage. And I'm like, wow, sounds like freedom to me. Just opened up a 27 million person marketplace in the U.S. And they're like, fuck. Like, guys, we can deliver a service to the public safely. And I think I can show you how to save your hands and not work so hard. That's all. It's not that controversial. Working on a mat's just a different platform. That's all. Like, I still teach the table work.
It's interesting just in general exposing a student or a therapist to the idea that they can use anything more than their two hands. In Dalton Myoskeletal, we put a lot of body parts on our belly. That's a third hand. Sometimes you've got a fourth hand going with a knee or an ankle. Mm-hmm. I use everything that I've got, all of my body parts to do almost all of my body parts to do my work. I have no problem getting on a table, right on top of somebody, doing seated work, sideline.
I suspect our work is probably closer than it is far apart.
I think so.
And students in class, sometimes they have a little bit of a weirdness. I sometimes ask them this. What are massage therapists taught in school about passive body contact?
Passive body contact. I don't know. Are we taught anything?
Mostly, I think therapists are taught not to make passive body contact.
I already know that I break all of the rules because all of my people are friends and I hug everybody and I absolutely will touch people a lot.
And they come into my class.
Pat them on the back or touch them on the head.
Not only am I encouraging, like not saying it's verboten, I'm saying I'm encouraging passive body contact. And they're like, oh, I'm like, hold on, you gotta understand, the people are clothed.
Right.
When they're clothed, there's a slightly different dynamic between the therapist and client.
It's very different. Same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. I feel that connection with my people, but I also try and read the room. That if I don't know somebody so well, they might not get that kind of contact until we have an understanding. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I want from that person is for them to be able to give as much of themselves to me as they can. And the only way I can achieve that is by meeting them where they are and providing the most comfortable, open, relaxing environment that feels safe. And they feel in control and they feel like I am there for their benefit, not my benefit first. I am not there to pat myself on the back and help them second. Yeah. There's that.
The feedback over the years has been amazingly positive from clients. Clients are like, dude, this is it. Like, whatever the fuck this is, they're like, dude, I can't even believe I wasted money on massage. What the fuck is this? And I'm like, a drunk driver taught me. Like, guys, I was looking for a solution to a pain management problem. Like it forced me outside the confines of what I guess culturally is thought of as a massage. It's just good work. The pushback isn't from the public getting sessions. The pushback is from the massage industry and massage therapists who are like, no, this is what we do. And I'm like, are these actually the legal parameters? And they're like, God damn it. He's asking all, like, when I say, can you be a soft tissue pain management specialist? And they start arguing with each other. I'm like, they don't know what the law says.
We might have to get a little creative with our language sometimes.
Well, it was interesting. Remember I said that like Stretch Lab and Stretch Zone and like stretch therapy? I found over time that therapists started doing this thing where they had massage as a service on their menu, but then what they did in addition was they had massage and stretch. And when I would ask students about this, why is that listed as like a separate service? And they're like, well, I just thought people looking for that stretch so they could get the stretch and then come to me and get a massage, or whatever. In other words, they don't understand that they've bifurcated. They've split in their head, in their language. They've already split stretch from the massage itself. To me, that's the same. It's part of the same service, right?
For me, whatever I know how to do, which is a lot at this point, including plenty of movement therapy, it's all one session, one fee, 75 minutes. I don't offer packages. I never have. I have been doing this forever with the price changes. I'm no dummy, but an hour is too short. 75 minutes hits my sweet spot. And whatever they need, I have something in my bag to pull out to apply to that. So I might have them moving all over the place in that session. Who knows? I integrate whatever I know. And that's really the key to being a great adept clinical therapist is, no one modality will address everything.
Yeah.
It just won't. So the more you can throw into, like we say, your toolkit,
so
be able to pull all that out and integrate it without even thinking of who it belongs
Tanya
to.
is running the jam at your facility.
She's very nice.
And Tanya comes down to Austin to train with me regularly. And then I can't remember how we got in. And I did it on a table because if I do it on a table, it's a little more amenable to therapists. Like they don't have to traverse this chasm to the mat. But I was using props and blankets and bolsters and pillows and doing pec work and put down a towel and was communicating with her and lengthening her neck and doing all this stuff. And then I get to this point where I've done that and I go, cool, now that you know how to do this, I want you to work on 4 clients at one time in a class that's next level pain relief. And you're going to do like the yoga therapy, the yoga assists. And I go, cool, can I go teach that to the yoga community? And they're like, oh, shit.
It seems like the Pilates community would be very amenable. Considering
there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of like if you really dig and look at like Rossiter, it's like, oh, okay. It's like so there's more going on than we realize. The conception is like once it gets to the mat, it's less massage. Once you add all the yoga props, it's like, and I hate to say this. I said this, and an educator was chastising me on my personal page one time. I said, I walk into a massage facility and do what I do, and they tell me it's not massage. But if I go the opposite way and I go into the yoga community, I guarantee you the yoga studio will fire me and say, what you're teaching isn't yoga. And I'm like, cool. I can be rejected by both communities simultaneously.
Well, see, I don't know. So I don't want to say you're probably, but I'm assuming that the hands-on aspect could be problematic legally for yoga practitioners. But I don't really know. But the Pilates folks are all up in movement therapy. And see, I don't understand their governing bodies. I don't know what their laws are.
Oh, dude. And here's the other thing. You and I operate under Texas law. What the public needs to understand is, like, Mississippi has different laws.
They do.
And then you add another 48 states to that, they have slightly different laws. Like, when somebody in Illinois is like asking me legal questions, I have to go, guys, I haven't read Illinois law. And they're like, what? And I'm like, guys, there's 50 sets of rules. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, and then throw in California, which has no state requirement. And so they have a bunch of different legislative bodies depending on their county or their city. Yeah. So I mean,
it's too much yoga for it's too much yoga for the massage community, and it's too much massage for the yoga community. And I'm like, next level pain relief coming right up. Whoop!
Start your third community.
Oh, but then it's like, are you ready? And I don't know what's going to happen with this because I don't plan on stopping the teaching. What happens if, let's say, yoga teachers, we'll just use them as an example. Yoga teachers are everywhere. Yoga has no license in any state in the United States. If anybody tries to pass laws in relation to the teaching of yoga, the Yoga Alliance flies out a helicopter with dudes to like squash it, basically. Can those people learn and actually use what I do? And it's like, so we're dealing with 50 sets of laws. Like, you should follow the laws in your state. Here's a lawyer I recommend you contact if you live in Wisconsin. That's about the most I can do.
Well, they'd have to be able to see. I don't know, because a yoga instructor, really, if they're a competent yoga instructor, needs to be able to come over and put their hands on you to shift your body position a little bit. But is that considered touch or no?
Well,
right? Like a personal trainer can put their hands on you to change a body position, but that's not considered.
So if you do stretch therapy, you need no license in any state in the United States.
This I knew, yes.
I'm like, next level pain relief, going beyond stretch therapy.
Oh my God, stretch therapy. Okay, the ultimate answer is if somebody's willing to pay for it, and whether it's placebo or not, and it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
There is value.
Here's what's probably going to happen. And I'm like, okay, there's 300,000 therapists. Do I want to sell to 300,000 therapists, or do I want to sell to 27 million people in the public?
All of them.
And I'm like, okay, so that's it. I'm trying to figure this out. Let's go direct to the public. I'm going to show Jean how to work on her husband, Jim. Jean, what do you like? Jim has low back pain. Okay, cool. I'm going to show you a little sequence you can do on him through the cameras. I want you to follow this step by step along with me. If I even help Jim with 2 points on his pain scale of pain, I'm teaching the public directly. Yay! Let's have a regular class.
I only have issue with accepting payment.
Oh, that gets into a weird spot too, because it's like, if I tell therapists in a class, hey, do you need a license to do massage? They're like, absolutely. And I'm like, no, you have to have a license to charge for it.
Well, that's to perform a professional massage. And by professional means you're charging.
I always wanted to go like
amateur.
I always wanted to go to like the Texas-Oklahoma border and put like 1 foot in Texas and 1 foot in Oklahoma.
I have a very crass joke as a follow-up to that, which I also am not going to say.
It's like, I just want to help people. That's all it is. It's not even like the laws and the way things are structured is just how it is. Like, I follow the law. It's like speeding. I can say, I don't like these speeding laws. Okay, well, you're going to get a ticket if you speed, but okay. Like, we have laws, man. You can't just do whatever you want without, penalties for breaking said laws. But
Well, I don't think it should be illegal to punch a Nazi in the face, but here we are. So I follow the law. I don't think
well,
it
I mean,
should.
I guess it's just assault, right? I mean, it's like it doesn't matter who it happens to. So technically, it's
I'm
illegal.
being
I mean, is that how that works?
technically it is illegal,
Yeah.
but my point being that there are laws that we have to follow, even though we don't want to or we don't like to.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it should be illegal
Yeah.
to punch somebody in the face.
There's weird
are.
there's weird things because I wonder sometimes if the public started listening, and if a public audience continued to grow, and if the public was listening to me and working on people, and that became my primary audience, I suspect massage therapists would not want to study what I teach.
I guess you have to ask to know.
Because they want the status and prestige that comes from being a CEP, from being a licensed therapist who gets this special, unique information nobody else gets. The social proof part is massive in my opinion.
Massive.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you with that there are some instructors I know who I wish were on a grander scale. And because they're not on a grander scale is because they're not on a grander scale. It is social influence that brings people to where they are and then keeps them there.
Who are those teachers that you wish more people knew about? If you don't mind asking me or saying.
For one, Jocelyn Olivier, developer of neuromuscular reprogramming. She's in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
So many people have studied under her and then branched off into their own great work, like Joseph Schwartz's DNA, Weinstock's NKT. He was a student of Jocelyn Olivier's. When I opened the Institute, she was top on my list of people that I wanted to bring in because I wanted to study under her.
Yeah.
I wanted to figure out how she figured all of this out. Literally just information stacking until she created something that, honestly, outside of myoskeletal work, that's a fundamental aspect of my work, is the ability to, in a way, resequence kinetic chains to really just find the bullies and address them, is brilliant. A game changer for me. That would definitely be high up on my list. I wish that Aubrey Gowing had more of an international.
Now that name I don't know. The other ones I've heard. Who's this?
Aubrey Gowing, Gowing. Yeah. Aubrey is brilliant and is just so incredibly adept at a clinical therapist, and he wields social media like nobody's business. We used to be teaching assistants for Eric together. He is in Dublin. I think he and his sister own the Dublin School of Massage Therapy.
Yeah.
But he's on Meta a lot, and wow, he is a sharp, sharp guy. And then there's you. And I'm honestly,
I'm the shit under those people's shoe.
I would say that Marjorie Brooks' straight method was also a game changer for my work. Her scar tissue remodulation work is just badass. Yeah. Amazing. But it's point specific stuff. Just like Walt Fritz's, the voice, throat, and swallowing disorders is, each one of these fills a little hole in my work that nothing else fits in to answer questions that nothing else answers.
Yeah. Walt's work was like deeply influencing. You mentioned taking all these classes and you've integrated stuff. I'm sure that you see your influences constantly. You're aware of where stuff came from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I can pretty much pinpoint who taught me what.
But I think from the outside, Walt and I have had conversations about this. He's like, I think people think our work is like completely different. And I'm like, oh, yeah. dude, like I'm in like an AC/DC t-shirt and tie fisherman pants. You're like spectacles and like a nice button-down shirt. It looks completely different, but it's really just a difference of style. And then my work is primarily mat-based, but it's mostly the same thing. The voice and swallowing disorders is like way more nuanced. I wouldn't even recommend a therapist go take it unless they just for some reason are just like, you know, you want to see how a different community of speech and language pathologists are like looking at body work essentially related to the throat. It was like really like nuanced.
Very much so, and not great to just jump into without a strong background. But I'll tell you, that class, I have one of the funniest stories from that class because myself and a couple of my colleagues took it, and there were maybe 3 or 4 massage therapists in a class of 26, and the rest were SLPs, right? So they come in their, here are all the massage therapists in like their t-shirts and their hair, and all the SLPs are in their, you know, business clothes. Some in business suits. So we look at each other, the MT's like, okay, that looks uncomfortable, but let's go. Not a single SLP had ever put their hands on anybody before, which shocked the hell out of us. We hadn't realized that was going to be the case. So they were afraid. Mm-hmm. They were genuinely just learning how to touch people for the first time. And here come the MTs like, all right, open wide. Let's look in there. But the funniest thing was Walt told the SLPs as we're working, and they're like, oh. He says, okay, now when your hands get tired, after about 30 seconds, you can turn around and just work on your notes for a minute or two and let them rest. And I mean, the 4 of us bust out laughing like, hands get tired in 30 seconds. We are definitely in with a group that's unfamiliar to us. And it was odd how they were sort of as a whole looking up to the manual therapist. Like, you guys aren't afraid to touch anybody, are you? You're not afraid to just jump in and do it, are you?
Yeah, it's a different perspective. I didn't know, business-wise, I didn't know what Walt was going to do. When I encountered Walt, he was kind of science-based myofascial release, and it was like, you know, for therapists. That was how I connected with him initially. Yeah. And then I didn't realize he was going to branch off into these little niche groups, which he found like this wonderful little subset where he could make a living teaching those classes. And he's uniquely skilled at delivering that.
God, but he is great. He's one of my favorite instructors.
Yeah, it's just so different. I've had conversations with therapists, and one of the things I've noticed here in Austin, at least, I'm teaching next level pain relief, upper back and neck, lower back and hips, real big issues. Like Tanya was asking me if I teach intraoral work, and I'm like, no, I've never taught a class on it. I can't teach classes on that. There's no way to fill the class. And she's like, what? You mean like? I'm like, I've listed classes here in Austin that are 6 hours on specific topics that I have to cancel because I can't fill. If you don't give the average massage therapist something they can apply immediately where they're at on most of their clients, they're not interested.
I can see that. I mean, I think that that course is really geared towards speech language pathologists. He might struggle to fill it with MTs.
No. It would be
4 of us.
Yeah, it would be. It's a very different kind of marketing thing. And for me, it's like, I could put on gloves, work inside someone's mouth. I can show them how to do this stuff in addition to the other stuff I teach. The problem is there's no market for that. That's where I get back to teaching it online. And it's to the point where the body map is where things will happen. People are, asking questions about this, and it's like, essentially, there's an indexing problem. There's a searchability problem. A lot of people will go to YouTube and they'll type in my name and type in shoulder or type in bicep or whatever it is they're looking for because they're trying to get Google to sort through that information to give them the one video they want. And I'm like, yeah, but the body map inside the vault. And they're like, what the hell is the body map? I'm like, we're going to have a picture of a human body. you click on the shoulder, it's going to break down the stuff that might be causing shoulder pain. And when you click on the deltoid, anterior deltoid, it's going to have a video on the anterior deltoid, table, mat, suspension, and self-care. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, we're going to break down the entire human body, mostly by muscle, so you can just click on it and see what you want to see. And they're like, wait, what? How much is that going to cost? And I'm like, $7 a month. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, well, we're not there yet. Like, this has been a dream for years. The problem is I have to hire wackaloons to make HTML code so this shit works, and they want an app.
Yeah. And now we're talking that. I'm hoping in the next year or so, ChatGPT will be a good intro app builder.
Do you have any sort of like closing thoughts? And we'll do this again, by the way. We could do this a million times.
I would love to do it again. I would love to do it a million times. This is awesome. Any closing thoughts? What kind of closing thoughts should I have?
Yeah. This is where if people think, I don't know, like, I eschew conformity.
Okay.
And formality. Formality sometimes. In the age, I think about this. In the age of the internet, like, what's the line between personal and private?
The line between personal and private is if you put it out there, it's no longer private.
It's like you get like Ozzy passed away, and I was real sad about this. And then I thought about it because I knew Ozzy from Black Sabbath, and then I never really watched the Osbournes except to think stuff was funny. And then I found myself being so connected to, like, you know, Ozzy being in the backyard, like trying to find his cat and just like bitching about it. It's like, it's such a human, like, piece of connection that you, like, who would have thought the Prince of Darkness would be in his backyard? Like, goddamn cat, like, would you, you know, those little things are what humanize the brand, if you will. And it's like, for me, I would literally take, and this is just me playing around with social media. I would take like a poker hand where I'm going to win and I just die. I just get wiped out by somebody. And then I would cut that clip and put it in the middle of a video. So it would just snap to like me losing a big poker hand to be like, well, thank you so much for tuning in to Robert Gardner Wellness. Because you can do it and there's a sort of humanity to it. It's not the perfection, which I think increasingly what I see with therapists or educators, they're worried about being seen as perfect on camera. And to me, it's the humanity. It's the like, wow, Robert, it's like he's really just a normal person. Like he has flaws and foibles and, you know, or whatever. Those sorts of things humanize what we do and let people know who massage therapists are and what we're dealing with on the daily.
Well, honestly, I like to say that I really am just a big goofball who happens to be extremely good at a couple of things. My wife scolded me not long ago, and she says, Kathleen, you're not 9 anymore. You're 11 now. I need you to start acting like it. And so this is true. I mean, I like to read my comic books. I like to play with toys. I am a goofy gal who has retained way too much of her childhood and still lives it every day. And I see no reason to give it up. I have no kids. I have nobody that I have to be all adulty to. I just try to turn that on a little bit more when I teach. But like now, I have 109 pepper plants going on right now. This afternoon, I am making 3 different hot sauce ferments and 3 different vinegar ferments with my hot peppers.
What kind of chilies are you growing, by the way?
Ooh, how much time do you have?
I mean, I'm not a huge gardener, but I've had some background with like heirloom seeds and the like. So, and as a cook, like I respect chilies. It's one of my favorite, food items.
As well, we should. Well, this year I've got Tabasco's, Bikino Yellow. I have Chili de Arbol Guajillo, Serranos, jalapenos, big boy jalapenos. I have gochujang, Korean hot peppers. And a bunch more that I can't really, that are not coming to mind right now. Fresnos,
Yeah.
Anaheims.
Yeah, growing up in Louisiana, the first time I grew a plant that I remember was a cayenne. And I went to the local,
cayenne.
probably the Walmart, and like grabbed like a 6-pack of cayenne plants or something. And I just, in my dad's backyard, just threw them in the goddamn ground. And the next thing I knew, we had 20, 30, cayenne at a time. I would cook a pot of red beans and rice, and I would just snip off the stem and throw that whole cayenne in the pot. And I cannot explain not just the heat, but like the wide array of like aromatic compounds that came off of the chili. That was like what cayenne, like Zatarans, you buy cayenne in a container, and it's like one note. And this cayenne, it had like this cascade of like flavors and it's like, it's a chili.
Man, I can never go back. I'm such a passionately interested in food science.
Yeah.
And the more I grow, the more I grow. And the more I do, the more I figure out that I almost can't use herbs or seasons from the grocery store anymore.
Yeah.
Like last year and this year, I'm growing all my own paprika.
Yeah.
Hungarian paprika. Because once you do it once and grind it up, you realize, oh
yeah,
that stuff I've been buying at the grocery store ain't that.
Yeah.
I'm even growing my own sesame seeds this year. Like whatever I can think to get out of the pantry and grow myself or make myself or dehydrate.
My experience, like I grew cayenne and I think jalapenos successfully. But the thing that really blew me away was just like what I call trash vegetables: lettuce, radishes, carrots. And like I would go out to my front yard and like, people were like, "Oh my, did you just pick the salad out of your yard?" And I'm like, yeah. And it was like radishes, like super easy to grow. If you ever want to show kids gardening, radishes are great because they only take like 60 or 90 days. It's pretty quick. And it's like textures, flavors, colors. Like I'm like, God, the stuff on the grocery market shelves is just what lasts on the shelves. Like there's all this biodiversity in food items that we have no idea about.
Yeah, I can never go back. And, even though it's just my wife and I cook or cut every single meal for myself because I just love it. I'm passionate about it. If I make a salad for lunch at work, I have all the vegetables out. It takes me like a half an hour to chop them because I want it to look right. I want it to be right. I want it to be excellent for me. I just love to cook. I'm always trying to conquer something new and intricate. I finally perfected my birria taco recipe this year.
Yeah.
It takes me 18 hours.
Yeah.
All of the steps. Love every bit of it.
Yeah. The cooking show. I added the cooking show, and it was like Kristen contacted me because it was a grill on the corner. I think I'm on, is it 1, 2, 3? I'm on new free grill number 3 that I picked up out of my neighbor's trash, and I refurbished them and start like grilling stuff. Or I have an offset smoker. I smoke briskets in, and it's all from neighbor's garbage. It's just food stuff, man. It's just the geekery. We talked a little bit about the food science. I just love it. I just think it's the most interesting cultural nuance, like this thing. Like it was only in this last 6 months or so that I really started to understand the power of like direct and indirect and why that's so important.
I let my artistic side really shine when I cook. I just love it.
Yeah.
And It's my stress relief too.
So we're pretty much at time. Tell people where they can find you again if you have social media, like, I don't know, Instagram or whatever. And then your website again?
Sure. My website is istsportstherapies.com. You can find me at my name, Kathleen Benanti, on Facebook and Integrated Sports Therapies Facebook page. And you can definitely find me on Reddit under Myoskeletal Muser.
How do you
And
is it just like it sounds, myoskeletal, the
all
word?
one word.
M-U-S-E-R?
M-U-S-E-R.
Okay, yeah. I'll have to grab a link and like stick that in graphics down below. But listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the recording, but we'll stay here for just a second. You can check out other episodes of the podcast, whatever you like, and hopefully we'll have Kathleen on. We will have Kathleen on again very, very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Robert Gardner Wellness Podcast.